Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Wow, look at that. I'm happy to see my audio levels going as they should. I didn't check those things before the stream. You never know when they might go
Everything's looking
wrong.
good for the first time in a very long time. But there we are.
There we are. How about that? Seeing lots of old-time backloggers chatting in the... It was fun to see Korvac mention, the very first time you and I met in person, in fact.
Right.
I believe it was the first time, or it could have been the second time, but I think it was the first time. You were doing the Backloggery Game Club podcast.
Yeah, we did six of those, I think. Four or five or six of them.
Yeah, and it was you, me, Korvac, and Sobo. Am I right? Was Sobo there? I think he was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we did a little podcast on Ease Origin.
Yes, and you had to finish it in a day.
Did I do it? Yeah, I did do it pretty fast.
You had to play it all the way through it on New Year's Day because you said you wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And you hadn't started it, and we were leaving. I think that because MagFest, I don't know when it is now, but it used to be immediately after New Year's. So sometimes people would be traveling on New Year's Day for it.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a long time ago. That was before
a long time ago.
The show and everything.
Gosh, that might have been 20, 13 years ago, 12 or 13 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it had to be more than that because the channel is 11.
12 this year.
It'll be 12 this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was probably 13 years ago ish.
Yeah.
Right around this time of year. Yeah.
Because we had started the channel by the second year we went to MagFest. I'm pretty sure, at least.
Yeah, man. That'll
crazy, right?
That'll take you back.
It seems like a whole lifetime ago.
I'll take you back.
Yeah, it's crazy. Back when I was making audio versions of these live streams, I put those Backloggery Game Club episodes in that feed.
Oh.
And they still exist, but it was not worth making the live streams and the audio versions just because it was just not getting the kind of traction to make it worth paying whatever it was every $300 a year.
Yeah.
Or something, whatever Podbean charges for it.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got unlimited data, you can just put on the video.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Although, in a way I might be able to, I wonder if I could set up something like that, via Patreon, where it's just this is a perk where people can download the streams, audio only versions.
Yeah.
On Patreon. I wonder if that's even possible.
Yeah, I mean, well,
either way, it's just another thing to do every Monday morning.
as if we need more of that.
I'm trying to cut down on my responsibilities every Monday morning.
Well, Henry Clark says Patreon does podcasts.
Yeah. But it's funny because I don't even want to go back and listen to that thing. I had no idea what I was doing.
Oh yeah.
And I had no idea how to, I guess, just conduct a discussion like that.
I'm sure it would be painful for all parties involved to listen to again.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I mean, that was before we had any experience with, speaking on video or, I did my stream, but I'm the Backloggery, but it was a different time,
Yeah.
We had not that the 13 years of experience since has done much to improve our live speaking ability.
To improve.
I'm sure it's done something to improve, but it's not gotten us up to a high level, I would say.
Yeah. I see Mr. Dotson saying I wanted VHS compilation of all the games we played in X year. And you know what? That's actually a really good idea. I wonder if each year I make 20 copies of the previous year's games we played in X year. just like put them up.
And how many
for
years
people
would
to-
you have tapes for?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm doing like 20 each time, so I wonder if I could do that. I wonder if like I could just make 20 copies and like make it like a first come first serve.
Yeah, 20
Good
wouldn't
deal.
be that time consuming to make.
No, and it just like letterbox it, you know. Don't have
Yeah.
to go through everything to like pan and scan it.
Yeah.
That seems like a lot of effort, but I think that would be kind of a cool thing to offer each year in a good like time capsule for each year.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do for like all of the previous years. I'd figure something out though.
But anyway,
That's a good idea though. I'm gonna see what it would take to set that up to do and make a handful of copies, and then just put it out as like a widescreen release and go for it.
But yeah, let's we got Ease the Oath and Felghana. Ease Memoire. Have they used the term Ease Memoire before?
No, I think that's like just their name for whatever they're gonna call like remakes or ports or like updated ports.
Right. I
of,
mean,
like older games.
based on what I'm seeing, I mean it was a pretty long time ago I played Oath and Felghana.
Yeah.
You know
so the
what's
narration, I saw like the option for narration, and
Do you think
the
that's
PSP
Adol?
version has that, where it's like kind of like an old guy like saying like Adol like felt very strange to that comment. Or something
Oh,
like
so
that.
wait, if I have that on, do I hear
I wonder if
that
would make it so
instead of
that
Adol's
doesn't talk.
voice?
I hope so.
Well, let's
And
let's
but
turn
part
it
of me
on
is
then.
kind of wondering if they got the same voice actor that plays Adol like in the NIS games.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not a huge fan. We had a big discussion about it a while back in the Discord about how I just don't really care for his voice, especially like in Ease 10.
I'm going to turn on
just
the
like-
classic illustrations.
Oh, you're gonna turn on the classic ones?
Why not?
I mean, the refined ones were made fresh for this version by Falcom themselves. I
I mean, I know, but I feel like the old school art might. I'll give him a chance. I'll give him a chance.
Yeah.
Um,
From what I've seen, it doesn't like make a huge difference. But for anyone who has not played this, if you were looking for a good place to start, I would either suggest this one or 8.
Yeah, this was the first one. You know what's funny? I mean, I've been thinking about it. By the way, this game is weirdly low. Like I always think of Falcom games as like being very loud, but the volume, I had like cranked the stream volume way up. But anyway, you know what's funny is I booted this up briefly the other day. I noticed that I confirmed it just now. The narrator says, and what he accomplished thereat. But he doesn't actually say thereat. It just says, I love that though. I wish he actually said it. What he
Yeah.
accomplished thereat.
I like this framing device, and I wish that they would use it more.
Yeah.
In future games in like 8, 9, and 10, it takes a little excerpt from like his books that
Right.
he's written, and like uses that as the intro. I like the idea of like a scholar talking about it.
Yes.
something like
Yeah. And a very sort of academic kind of way. Like even he describes like Adol's writing style as being
Yeah.
very matter of fact and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah.
And see, that's why,
Felghana
like, I feel like this whole setup with the narrator and everything, like, actually serves to highlight why I don't like the idea of Adol being voiced. Because, you know, he says, like, Adol's writings leave a lot up to interpretation by the reader and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel that giving the character a voice is just it's just a step too far, you know?
was hoping we'd get here a little
Yeah,
earlier
well,
today.
yeah, I agree.
Wasn't expecting
And
the waters to be so rough.
in 10, he only really
Still,
says a
this
full
place does
sentence
bring back memories.
at the very
Hard to
beginning,
believe it's
but
really
it's all
been
this
8
like
years since I left.
BS. Like it's the same thing as it
There's
was with
Margot, I always
Visions
called
of
her
Mana, where
Rose.
it's just like we need to make the main
Gardner,
character talk and
not
just
to
say
mention
like little
Chester
canned
and
things
Elena.
constantly.
Mm.
I wonder
Oh,
what
I,
they're
And
yeah.
doing
it's just like,
after
man,
all
I
this
wish
time.
I could just turn that aspect off.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, a treasure chest.
Man,
I wonder what's in this
what
one.
happened here?
You know, and just like I don't, and it's obnoxious.
And I feel
One
like
is dedicated to the god of
you know, the back of the box for the game is like
It's a
is
relic
like,
of the
oh,
religion.
the long-awaited voice acting for main character at all, and I'm like, like, I feel like for a lot of
Just don't get
people,
why
like,
anyone would deface it like this, though.
you know, the artwork, the character art, and the voices is like just like a big
Yeah.
part of like how they connect with the character, and like a lot of people will just like, no, silent protagonist, rah, I hate that, and I'm
Yeah.
like, silent protagonist is a thing that only video games can do.
It came from over there.
And I
Right.
feel like
Well,
I feel like that.
Wait up, Adol.
I just
He's
feel like it's something we
alive.
should embrace as a storytelling mechanic rather than be like, you know, you're just trying to make it more like a movie. You know,
Yeah, or
do
just,
do something
you know,
that's
just trying to
unique to
fill-
video games, in my opinion.
and just try to fill the air with like worthless sound bites.
Yeah,
And especially like against the backdrop of like what a good soundtrack this game has specifically.
Kidding me.
Uh,
What the hell are monsters?
that said, I mean, Edall does say he has a large chunk of like spoken dialogue in 9, but there is a reason for it.
okay. Like, you know, we were discussing silent protagonists back on in the Discord when I finished D2,
Mhm.
and someone said, like, you know, sometimes you know, sometimes like a mostly silent protagonist can be given a line like for great effect, and actually D2 does that, and I did think it was effective. Like, if it's like brought out like just for one particular moment where it like makes sense,
Yeah.
then that can have a powerful effect. But you wouldn't have that moment either if the character wasn't otherwise silent, right? So I don't know. I
There's
think it should be
$5
used.
from Enchilada.
Oh,
Thank you.
hey.
And have fun playing this. Try. I enjoyed the original. Watch the pen play it, and it's good. Enjoy and have a great week. Have a great week, ladies and gentlemen.
Excellent.
Thank you. Hopefully it's better than last week. Not that last week was that bad, but I was telling Tri before the stream, we got a ton of snow here in Cincinnati, and it has. While I am like fairly accustomed to such a thing, people around here are not
Yeah.
used to having this much snow and having it stick around for as long as it does.
Yeah.
So it's pretty chaotic. Like the kids were supposed to go back to school last week, and they had Monday and Tuesday off. Then they had to do NTI, which is like using their school laptops at home. Then they went on Thursday, but then the school was like, this is like too chaotic because the streets were not completely clean, and it got really cold. So they ended up going back to NTI for Friday because we were supposed to get another bit of snow. But it's kind of surreal because they were
Are you okay, miss? You don't look like
since
you're hurt.
the snow hit just as they were supposed to go back from
Huh? What's wrong?
Christmas break.
Something on my face? Am I like covered in
They were out of
We should
school for
probably get
18
moving.
days,
Head to town before we're attacked.
which is like is kind of insane
Say I
actually.
recognize your face.
Wait, what
Uh,
was
that's-
it?
Got to live in
They were,
I was
they
listening
were out of
to
school for
Doge.
18 days.
What was 18 days?
They were out of school for 18 days.
When? Oh,
Well,
you mean
from the beginning because they were supposed to go back.
oh, so they never
last
went
Monday
back from
f-
Christmas
from
break.
Christmas break.
I see.
So Christmas break combined with this, basically the entire week off. You know, they are out for 18 days.
Yogi, you're actually back. What have you been doing all this
So
time?
I mean, it was kind of surreal.
Hold on a second now.
It'll be nice though to have everything kind of
Do I know you?
go back to normal.
How can you even say that?
It'll
You
be
and me
nice to
and
go back to
everyone used
normal
play
just in
together all the
time
time when we were kids.
for
Don't
us
you dare
to
tell
go to
me
Florida
that.
on Saturday. We're taking it's my son's 10th birthday, and
Last saw you,
we
you
we
were
try to
sitting
do
in a
something
single
special
top.
for his 10th birthday because we
Well,
did something
that
special
was
for
8
my
years
daughter's
ago.
10th birthday.
I'm 17 now.
So now
Man,
we're
you sure are.
taking the kids down to Florida, and we're going to Legoland
I'm sorry. Where are
for
my manners?
Saturday. We get there
It's
Saturday
nice to meet
night,
you. And
and
again,
it's
thank you very much. for
Monday
your
and
help.
Tuesday. We come or Sunday and Monday, and then we come back on
My
Tuesday.
name is Elena. Elena
So we're
Stein.
doing Legoland because Disney is just way too expensive. Like we couldn't afford that. So that'll be nice. You know, it's gonna be cool because my mom and my brother are gonna come up from Fort Myers, and it's like 2 hours for them to drive up. They're gonna spend the day on. They're gonna stay there on Sunday night and leave on Monday. And they have not seen my kids in probably like 3 or 4 years.
Oh wow.
And it's gonna be interesting. I do not know how it's gonna go with my with my daughter talking to my mom. I don't know, just because talks so different now.
Mm.
Oh, this is like a little different here. I think maybe it seems different. Maybe, but I almost always skip this intro now.
I mean, parts of it, that intro, like it was a lower frame rate video, so I assumed it was something upscale from an older asset. It's been so long since I mean, I've only played through this one time.
Okay, it would make sense if it's.
You know, I saw Zane's dad say, "What? Try is playing ease," and you know, I feel like there's this perception, like among MLiG viewers, like especially our Discord, that like I'm not an ease guy at all, and like I love the ease games that I've played. I don't really like the 1 and 2 that much, but you know, I've played Oath and Felghana, Origin, 7, and Memories of Salsetta. I liked them all, but you know what's the funny thing is, like, I just haven't played an ease game since starting the channel. Like I have not played through an ease game since starting the channel, so it seems like I'm not an ease guy. But
Yeah, that's actually that's a really long time to not have played one.
yeah,
Honestly.
it's weird. Well, it's just you know, making time is hard.
Yeah, but it's for me, it's like one of those things that a new one comes out, it's top priority in terms of like games in terms of games that I'm playing. Like I always try to like clear off everything else ahead of time.
But this was the first. So, you know, way back, Mamie from the Back Loggery, way back, sent me and Drum both like some extraordinarily generous mystery boxes.
Yeah.
And mine had I had gotten rid of my PSP 1000 relatively early in the
right.
generation because I was just really annoyed with it.
Where have you been?
And the library hadn't really come into its own yet.
You had
And
me worried.
I was just feeling really over it.
So late.
And then, you know, the PSP got good, and Mamie sent me a PSP 3000. Yeah, this is when they were still on the market with Oath and Felghana, E7,
It's all
P3P,
as long as you're all right.
Trails in the Sky, and maybe something, at least, I want to say at least 1 or 2 other games. So yeah, that was like my entryway back into PSP, and the first game I played on it was Oath and Felghana, and that's the only time I've played it, so it's been a while.
So, who are your two friends?
It's a
I don't believe
it's a
I
great game to start
recognize
with
either
because
one
it is not that long.
It's short,
Yeah.
and
In
the
best possible
soundtrack
way.
is one of the best.
There's zero fat in this game.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
just- it
you
just
know,
keeps going, and it makes
with this intro, you know, it's, you know, there's a lot of talky talks, but
Yeah. But
um,
you have no idea. If you haven't played any of the newer ones, man, this is like brisk compared to the new ones. And
Yeah, I guess I've been a little out of
it generally doesn't bother me, but 10 really kind of got stuck in my craw at first because there was a lot of just saying the same things over and over again.
Well, you know,
And
wandering, killing
I really felt like the first few hours was,
I brought a pal of mine along.
here's a bunch of dialogue. Oh, we're going to give you like a new gameplay mechanic. You're going to use it once, and then we're going to talk about it for 20 minutes, and then we'll give you another one, and then we will talk about it for another 20 minutes, and then it just like really goes and goes and goes, and it just it takes a while to get going, but once it does, and they kind of take the
No.
guardrails off, then it gets pretty good.
I was
But
attacked by monsters just now.
you find yourself longing for days like this, or like the days of like, you know, these games that are like this, where it just, you know, sets it up and then it kind of like, all right, here we go.
I wasn't there to help. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
And it's incredibly
It's all
efficient.
the real trouble out in the field.
Does raise a point worth discussing, though. Why are there monsters here in the first
So this
place?
week,
We'd heard rumors
I,
that Felghana's fallen on hard times, but I had
played
no idea it got
played a
so
Plague
bad.
Tale.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
I finished the Plague Tale, and then I immediately started the second one.
yeah. Did it
And,
feel
you know,
like
I
a smooth
recorded, I
transition?
wrote my bits of like the year-end video script about it
Yeah.
already.
It's been pretty bad for around a year.
I had
now.
zero
Rarely visited by anyone
expectations or
anymore
knowing
as a
anything
result.
about it going into it.
Travelers,
I just
no
saw that
mercy.
like people had highly regarded it, so I got the collection that came out a while back. They had, it was like a month ago, I guess. They had like one, and it had
Well, it's
Innocence.
getting late. You can tell
and
me all about where
and
you've been
Requiem
and what
in
you've
it.
done come morning.
Innocence is the first one, Requiem's the second. I think we talk about this a little bit. Like we kind of get annoyed when the first games have like a subtitle.
Head on in and
Yeah.
get
Well,
I bet
Or
you're
like,
exhausted.
I mean, I don't like.
no,
I mean,
I don't
sometimes
know
it's
if I
kind
really
of annoying.
mind that because like then it's
What
consistent
is it,
with a
like
potential
Kingdoms
sequel.
of Amalur, Reckoning?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty bad. I mean that's probably the worst example.
Yeah, but I mean,
But
a Plague Tale Innocence is kind of bad too.
yeah, but at least it got a sequel. But like Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning is really bad because it didn't get a sequel. So that's
Exactly.
just that's kind of obnoxious. But if it did get a sequel, I mean like Dragon Age Origins is another example. But then the problem was they just called the next game Dragon Age 2. They didn't,
Yeah.
you know, they didn't follow through. You know, the third one was Dragon Age Inquisition at least, but like for two, they ruined it. They ruined it with how
Yeah.
they set up the titling scheme with 2. But
Yeah.
I
But I just
intended
went into the game knowing nothing about it, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. It was about 10 or 11 hours, and you're kind of ready for it to be done by the time it's done.
yeah.
This place
I didn't
sure
expect it
hasn't
to be
changed
such a
much either.
heavy like stealth game.
I used to live and work
A lot
this
of
thing when
sneaking
I was a
around, a
kid.
lot of trial and error.
Ma'ams a lot for looking
Um,
after me back then. Hey, Ellen,
I wasn't
go get Chester, would you?
expecting it to
I
be
haven't seen
like
him in so long.
jam-packed
Have a
with
reunion
rats.
party if everyone's not here.
I mean, because I didn't know anything about it.
He's not in town.
I just knew that it was,
What?
you know,
Oh, no
around
way.
like a dozen hours, and
What can you do? He's
people
probably pretty
people
busy.
liked it. But man,
I'm
they're
afraid I'll be taking my leave for the night.
there's a lot of rats in that
Long
game.
absence likely
Like tidal waves
I
of
really should
rats,
know Emily.
Yeah. I'm aware of that.
like oceans and rivers of rats.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll be fine here for the
There's a $5 Canadian from Buddy Scotch.
before we go to bed.
Thank you.
By the way,
Saying during the semester, the most time I've been able to find to play a game is when I get in bed. I've actually been really enjoying Wild Arms on my PSP.
That is a game to enjoy.
Yes.
It's
PS1 games look amazing on the PSP.
Yeah.
You know, like that's just a great way.
And the Vita
great way to
too.
do it. I'll tell you,
really.
I don't know if I talked about it on here or not.
It was nice to meet you, Adol. And
But
good
I
to see you,
decided to
Rondo.
get
I know
a
you two must be
PlayStation
tired of the
Portal.
journey. Please, take it easy and
I
get
had
some
no,
rest,
I have
okay?
no desire to travel or leave the house with it. It's just too big to leave the house. Just like the Steam Deck is too big to leave the house with,
She's
in my
acting kinda
opinion.
strange.
You could play Balatro on it, though.
I can play Balatro on my phone, and it's actually like works pretty like really well on the phone. Like the way that the primary touchscreen works. I feel like
Sold out nicely.
playing Balatro on the phone might be the best way to play it.
Going for it, too.
Uh,
Who am I kidding?
but I got the because I was thinking about getting a portal, and then I saw that they had like the 30th anniversary PlayStation colorway for it, I guess, was available. So it's only $20 more, and like if I'm gonna get one, I might as well just get that. So I did, and it's nice that I can just like play games like when I get in bed, you know, and I do. My wife had COVID, and I was like I was sleeping in the guest room for a week, and I just like kept the portal up there,
That's me.
and
I'm back.
and use it a bunch. It works pretty well, and I know I can do that with the Steam Deck. I can use what's the app on there, and it took me a while to get it set up, but I was able to do it. But
I'm sorry,
I just wanted
Max.
something that was like, you know, you didn't have to screw around with the controls too much. It's I don't remember. It's like an app that it's called something. I can't remember what it is.
Adol gave his name and
I don't remember
explained
what it's
that
called.
he had been
Either way, I think it's nice that
It gave the little narrator summary of what Adol said. So turning on the narrator was wise.
turning on there.
Yes.
Okay, cool. That's what I want. But I just think it's nice to be able to like lay in bed and play it. And like that's exactly what I wanted to do, you know, like especially when I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2, which I also finished this week. It was just very nice just to, you know, kick around and find like see like just play that for a bit, you know. I don't remember where I was going with it. I was just talking, I guess PSP. Either way, like I like the portal, and it's not gonna leave the house with me. It's just so that I don't have to like be down here in the basement if I want to play a game, or if
Well, I mean, you can't
like,
really
or if
play.
it's like
I
I'm
mean, you
playing an
can't
RPG,
easily play it
or-
outside the house anyway. Like, you know, you'd have to be on Wi-Fi,
right,
and you
exactly.
get a ton of lag.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just so I don't have to be confined down here, like in the basement, to play certain games.
Ruins and the sacred mountains of Elder. All that now remains is to
I intended to play this intro before the stream, but like I finished dinner and I casually started to make the thumbnail, and then all of a sudden I realized it was like 7:30. I'm like, what? Did not have time. You know what's
Yeah.
funny though? I was watching. Maybe this is why I lost track of time. I was watching the GameSack Dare to Compare episode.
Oh, I haven't watched it yet.
And well, he ends on Ease 3. Funny enough.
Oh,
for-
okay. I remember when he was like tweeting about
Yeah.
making.
So
it.
I got all the differences of
Blue
you know
Sky.
the TurboGrafx Genesis and Super Nintendo versions of Ease 3, which for those who aren't familiar, this is a remake. Oath and Felghana is a remake. Of course, it was a remake many years ago. That's why it looks the way it does. A remake of Ease 3, which was a oddball in the series for being a side-scrolling game.
Yeah.
And this is you know, more of an overhead action game. And once I get more into the gameplay, I think you'll see why people love Ys so much, because it's got this really snappy, satisfying speed to the combat. Although, you know, there are different eras of Ys and they all control a little bit differently. But just the gameplay is just really simple and satisfying in these this era of Ys, I would say. The Ys Origin, Oath of Felghana, and Ark of Nepishtim era, which I still haven't played Ark of Nepishtim.
Well, it's one of those situations where, you know, the third game in that case, but like a new game came out and they wanted to change it up, like as, you know, like think about like Zelda, going from Zelda 1 to 2.
Yeah.
Like they wanted to say like, oh, let's make this a side scroller. People might like it more. But that was not the case. And just like Zelda did with Zelda 3, they went back to like the original like style of combat, like bump combat and everything. There was 5 pounds from InGen UK.
Thank you.
Thank you. Saying Happy New Year, Happy New Year's, Happy New Year, guys. Have you seen the Cadillacs and Dinosaurs remake for Mega Drive? So bad it's good. Got a physical copy on eBay. So is that a port of the arcade game? I'd love to hear the music in that, because the arcade game has a great soundtrack.
I wonder if it uses like if they kind of like built it by hacking Final Fight CD or something like that.
No, I'll look it up. I've not tried it, but I wonder if it's based on the arcade.
You know what's a pet peeve of mine? When Japanese games translate things in quotations with the brackets around them.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't do that in English. It shouldn't be written that way in English.
I mean, that was a huge pet peeve of mine, because I feel like Wild Arms 2 did that, like an insane amount.
But this game does do
made
it.
Almost unreadable.
This game does do it.
So I think it's a little silly to call this a demake, because it's just a port of the arcade game. That's like saying that
they were
like on the Genesis that came out, or on every arcade port on a console that came out was a demake. I mean, this is just is a port of that. I would not call this a demake.
Yeah.
It's just a port of the arcade game.
By the way, this does not necessarily appear to do anything terribly.
Randolph looked exactly like Dogi.
Huh?
Is Randolph Dogi's brother or something?
Oh, I didn't get that
He looks almost
impression.
exactly like him.
There doesn't seem to be any special PS5 features on this, by the way. There's no like 120 hertz or anything. I feel like that roof looks like its source is like a composite video signal.
There's also $5 from Mega X6. Thank you. Saying it's great seeing Yakuza Kiwami as Corey's pick for try to play this year. I played it last year and loved it. I'm currently playing Kiwami too. Yeah. I mean, this was like my big opportunity to get him back into the series.
Yeah, I mean, I've not,
and even
I've only played 0.
Yeah.
I'll be interested if I start to feel really into the brawler gameplay of the pre-7 Yakuza games, because like I thought the brawling was okay in 0, but I wasn't like really into it.
Well, Kiwami uses the same thing as 0, but then Kiwami 2 uses what I assume is in 6.
Right.
Since
So
those are Dragon Engine games.
I'm much more interested in the RPG games, but I also kind of feel like it's just one of those situations where it's just like, how do you even really dig into that, right?
Right. I can bring my volume up a teeny little bit. I don't want to peak though.
That sword looks like it's
Huh?
a lot of action. You should have it fixed up.
Paul Blakeman was saying that my volume's a little bit low, but I could bring it up on my end a little bit, but I don't want it to blow out or anything.
But you'll be hard pressed to find a better smithy anywhere else in the world. He's choosy about his clientele, though. So don't.
It's
be offended
you know,
if he
the
turns you away at first.
the actual brawling gameplay aspect of the Yakuza games
What do you
is
want? I'm a
the part that's
dentist.
least
I
interesting
own
to me.
this shop, and if
It's
my
it's
appearance hasn't
mainly
given
just like
away
it just
yet,
has to
I'm
happen
happy to confirm that yes,
to
I'm
string
a
everything else
Huh.
together.
From the looks of that sword, you know
It
what you're
does
doing,
not feel
Beast.
like it's
When I think you to
the
remove
last reason I play the
comprehensive armor
games,
for people I like, and only people
which
I
is
like. Sorry, but you may as
I don't know
well
if that's
just
like
go
if that's
home.
like an odd opinion of it. Like it's fine, it's good, but it's not why I play the games. Just like I can't think of an RPG where I play it for the battle system. It just does not. It's just a part of the story,
I
which
mean,
makes me wonder why like I don't enjoy visual novels as much or more. But
the older I've gotten, the more I'm into the gameplay of an RPG, I would say, and that
Yeah.
the story matters less for me.
yeah.
Whereas I think the story was very important to me when I started getting into RPGs, but it's skewed much more toward the gameplay for me now. But you know, I think you would really like Live Alive because
Oh yeah.
I feel like the gameplay is very tuned to serve the story in Live Alive because it's different, you know, it plays differently for each character.
Right.
And it's really kind of set up as if
You're too young to have gone
is if like the gameplay limitations and abilities of each character like kind of is almost like part of their who they are, then their personality and their story. So I thought it was a really clever sort of usage of gameplay and storytelling in that sense.
Yeah.
Where can a guy get some harb around here?
Harb?
All I found was the smithy. I haven't found an item shop. Adol needs some harb.
What's the name of this? Is it Redmont? Is the name of this town? Coal mining town, Redmont. I love the music in this place. You know, so I had to spend like 5.5 hours in the car today because I had to drive up to like my in-laws' house because we were being given a pretty new dishwasher. We had to pick it up.
I could not
Drive
understand the story you were trying to tell me about, like why your
So my
in-laws
wife's
just
aunt-
happen to have a mostly unused dishwasher to give you.
So my wife's aunt got a new dishwasher, and something happened where it wouldn't latch. And instead of, she got it from Lowe's, and it wouldn't latch, and she didn't realize it was like user error. But Lowe's did not have enough people to like come out and fix it. So what they said is we're just going to send you a new one and you can keep the old one.
Oh, good
So
morning,
she
Adol. Is Dogi not with
you
you
know,
today?
like gave us the one that had only seen a little bit of use to it. And it does latch. It was just You know, it's
It's not very nice of them.
it was just user error, but they didn't have enough people to go out there and fix it, so they'd rather just
8 years ago,
give her a new
he
one
decided
instead of
he had to go on a journey of
instead of like
self-discovery. Become a man.
coming out and trying to figure out what's wrong with it. It,
So-
it does what it needs to do. It's better than what we have. So
Sternly opposed it.
uh,
The two of them got into quite a scuffle.
I was thinking about like seeing if I could figure out how to like install it, but it does make me a little nervous because you know
To be
if
honest,
that's a lot of water
tell Dogi.
to get
Remember
like
yesterday when I said
which is
the
like
teacher was asking
exactly
out?
like
Well,
exactly
it's
above
true,
like
but
the B-roll set that I've set up.
actually hasn't
back
been
here.
back in over 6 months.
The last thing I want to do is like have a water line or something like that, just like
It just said
going all over the place and dripping down onto that.
I haven't heard anything from him at all since then.
So we'll get someone to come and install it. But we had to go and get it because since it had been used a couple of times, it had some water in it,
Tell Dogi.
and it had
All
to.
this way.
It couldn't be like outside because it's too cold. And if the like if the water that was in it froze, then it would like could damage it.
Sorry. I don't mean to dump
So
all
we had to
bad
go and get it,
intentions
and now
on
it's like
you.
sitting in our entryway until we
When
can
he gets back, I guess
get
I'll just
someone
have
to
give it
install
him
it for
straight.
us.
I'm sure Dogi will take
But
the
I,
easy
you know,
way
I
through
so
all
I
this
was
and be done with you.
just had a lot of time like in the car
Can and
today, and I was just thinking about different things, and I thought about how it might be fun eventually to do a live stream where we don't say what we're playing, but like we could both do something where it's like we both pick a game that we think people should play. Here's some games that you should play, like almost like an episode, but in a live stream form.
Or almost like the games I haven't booted, except it's
You
almost
pick,
that
like,
format,
Things
except
that you know that you like.
yeah.
Be like, here's some things that we're recommending to the chat to play. Or something like that. I don't know. That's when it's in my head. It seemed like a good idea, but then coming out of my mouth, it sounds like really half baked. But who knows? I mean, I think that might be a fun way to do, like a hidden gems kind of stream. Next stream, like, yeah, you should play this.
Yeah.
And watching your backloggery archives, like in the year-end video, it's like, man, we gotta like do more like dual stream type things. I feel like we need to do
Yeah,
more.
I mean that's like
We need
that's
to
like
find a
how
be able to
become
find
one
a
of our
third person.
signatures of the backloggery stream.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and I could see you doing that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the main reason I think it's fun is because, I mean, it's just we approach this stream with kind of a different tone, I guess. But like,
Yeah.
we will play the same game week after week, and for 4.5 hours at a time, and on the backloggery, and it's fun because it's like, okay, here's like a game that like we can like work through together. It's a single player game, but
Yeah.
we're both figuring it out and like trading
Right.
tips and things we figure out as we go.
Yeah. I mean, I think that would be fun to do, and we would have absolutely no problem hosting something like
Oh,
that.
do you know what I pre-ordered, by the way? Speaking of like games we can play together, not as a dual stream, but games we can play together and potentially stream in some fashion. I had a $5 Best Buy reward that was going to expire, and there wasn't anything on sale that I wanted to spend it on, so I pre-ordered Split Fiction.
Oh, when is that supposed to be out, in March?
Something like that, I think. I think it's March.
Yeah, I'll pre-order that bad boy.
I mean, you don't have to. We can play it together without.
Yeah, but
that,
I mean, like,
technically.
there's
But you'll
no
get
way
it
that I would
anyway.
not get it.
Yeah.
If anything ever troubles you, always
So-
remember.
Did we stream that on Twitch or YouTube? Do you remember?
I'm pretty sure we did that on YouTube.
But we did during
did.
the day.
Yes.
Or well,
3 days
I
in a
say
row.
that. it takes two. We did it. It takes two during the day.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I have a pre-order in for Donkey Kong Country Returns HD as well.
I'm
Because I think Best Buy had a deal where it's like buy two, get one free.
Ew.
and it even included some pre-orders. So I was like, I guess I just pre-order that.
I can't bring
And that's-
myself to
that comes
pay
out,
for
like,
that
next week
for,
or something like
for
that.
full price.
Well, I'm technically getting it for free, so I'm not
Oh, yeah.
paying anything for it.
What?
Guys, I'm afraid there might not be any store where I can buy a harb in town.
I'm not sure, but there were
Oh,
definitely
here
a
you go.
lot. More than I've ever
I guess
seen
I had to just
before.
talk to a bunch of people to trigger this scene. Sorry it's taking so long to
there
get to real
was-
gameplay, everyone.
Yeah. There was a $4.99 from Jimmy Schindler. Thank you. Saying anything specific you guys are hopeful to see with Switch 2. Personally, I'd love to see Trauma Center come back. If that mouse support is up to snuff.
Introduced himself.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, I really only care about like backwards compatibility. That is the number one thing that I want.
Monsters started
And
gushing out
ideally
of
that it
mine shafts in the Tigre
will
Quarry. That's
run
easy
games
to be.
better
Yes.
if like they have a unlocked frame rate.
you know, that,
You know,
that's probably my number one hope. I'm excited to play Echoes of Wisdom on it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, just stuff like that.
I-
You know, like I'll probably, I'll play through Link's Awakening.
Otherwise, like I'm just excited to see when they're going to do a, hopefully early on, like another. I mean, it's been since year one of the Switch since we've had 3D Mario, which is crazy.
I'm sure that there's going to be one.
It's been
announced
8
alongside.
years. Like that's a long old time.
Yeah.
I-
Well,
I'd
and it's going
also-
to be, it's going to be like open world, like uh,
whatever
whatever the add-on was for 3D World. Bowser's, what was it called?
Huh?
What was the what was the 3D World add-on game called? Bowser's Fury.
Oh, that was amazing.
That's what I bet that's what it's going to be like.
I would be all for that. I thought Bowser's Fury was awesome. You know, open world platforming done right, I would say.
Yeah.
I
I think the Metroid Prime 4 is going to be a launch game.
or
That's just-
y-
that's-
y-
that's my guess,
not
like-
too far down the line, I would say.
No. But I think that if that was a launch day, like people would be real excited. But I think that we won't have it would be cool to get a 3D Mario on launch day.
Yeah, and
But- Whatever. Like I just, like based on like the huge amount of leaks. I've already seen people saying like, "Oh, like I'm a little disappointed. It's like nothing crazy about it." And I'm just like, thank God. Like, all I want is just like more powerful hardware that doesn't need to reinvent anything. It just needs to.
right, like right now, like if you want to see something inventive, like buy into a VR system. Like that's where you're going to have your like, oh wow, this is like not like anything I've played before experiences today.
Yeah.
And I would say for the most part, like games that you play on a flat screen is like kind of a figure. They've been figured out,
Yeah.
and we don't necessarily need anything crazy at this point for that stuff, in my opinion. And that's why I like to have something like the Quest 3, because if you are in the mood for like having something that's more of like a experimental experience, that's where that's happening now.
Yeah. Yeah, and the fact is, I just think that like standards have been pretty locked down at this point, and I think that that's okay. We don't need to, just sling all this stuff out there to see what sticks. If you have some ideas, like sure, then like create some sort of like add-on for it, but don't make it like the primary thing. So I mean,
But
I know
anyway,
that-
did you the note was referring to like something about mouse support? Did you hear about that? Like I didn't fully understand, because I haven't like peeped over every detail of these rumors.
Oh, I haven't either. I just
But
never-
there is like this whole thing about like apparently one of the Joy-Cons has something that people are like, oh, it looks like a Like there might be
like
like
a
an
mouse.
optical mouse
Yeah.
sensor on it, so you could like pop off a Joy-Con, use it. I was kind of skeptical of it, to be honest. Like it, because I want to say that it would. That I mean, I guess it's possible it could be on both Joy-Cons, but what they were, the comment that I read was like, oh, why is it on the left Joy-Con? Like that would be weird for most people, right? But maybe it's on both.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I think that'll be kind of neat. Like that's a cool idea, but you know, it's not something you can do like while playing it portable.
No. I mean, it would definitely be interesting. Although they could just let you use a mouse, like you can do on Xbox and PS5. Although having it as a standard would probably encourage developers to add mouse support more frequently, because I don't think it's very frequently supported on PS5 and Xbox, which is a shame.
Yeah.
You know,
either way, you know, I don't need anything crazy from it. I just hope that it runs older games like maybe better.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's not like doing anything crazy with it, at least allow it to run better if the frame rate is unlocked.
Yeah, just yeah.
It doesn't have to do anything more than that.
No, I agree.
You know,
I agree.
like without a patch.
I mean, just like the PS5 Pro has the enhanced PS4 image quality option. But
yeah.
I don't like what it does. I don't like how it looks.
Yeah, I've never used it because I heard what you said about it. I'm like, okay, I feel no desire to see it for myself. I feel like I would rather just like have it as close to as like it originally is supposed to look for capturing purposes for sure. You know, I don't want anything any PS4 game that I capture on the PS5 to have like that sharpening filter that's only available on the Pro.
Yeah, well, and it creates artifacts that look a little bit strange. So, in my opinion,
I just have no desire to like use that, especially in captures. And I mean, I'm kind of at this point now, and I was kind of like dabbling with it yesterday, where I think if I'm playing a PS4 game and I know, and it does not specifically have any enhancements on a PS5, I think I'm going to just play it on my PS4. You know,
I mean, you'll have longer loading times.
I mean, that doesn't. Not always. I mean, that doesn't really bother me. So unless it has like a specific patch for the PS5, then I think that in most cases, or if it's just like a game that runs unlocked.
Yeah. I mean, if it's 1080p and you do right through the retro tank with Nearest Neighbor, look pretty good.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm fine. I have no. I don't mind. I don't mind playing it on the PS4. So I think I'm going to do that more often. There was $5 from Mike Sherry. Thank you. So I love how Felghana went from direct sequel in 3 to at least 5th in the timeline after Nordics and Celceta. Yeah, and I attribute that a lot to I think Falcom doesn't want to let go of
young Adol
at all.
Yeah.
They think, it's it connects with more people that way.
The Japanese concept of a hero is, you do your adventuring when you're young, right?
Well, when you're a teenager.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only what is he in 9? So 9 is the furthest one in the timeline. I feel like he's 26.
Yeah. I mean, you're just pining for that old man Adol game. Someday.
Oh, but that is the number one thing that I want.
In all video games.
I want Adol looking like what always comes to mind when I think of what I want old man Adol to look like is what Lake looks like in Lunar Silver Star, where he just like has a big grizzled beard.
Oh
and he, like,
yeah, that guy, yeah.
So that is what I want.
That's
More than anything.
That like more than any other potential video game that could ever exist.
Yeah.
Like that's your number one desire. I respect it.
I want Adol like at like the peak of his ability.
Or maybe just a hair past it.
Yeah. I mean, it might be actually cool where like, you know, he's past his peak and, you know, he's struggling a bit more. You know, that would be interesting. You know, like I appreciate in later games where they talk about like, oh, you've seen some stuff, especially for someone your age.
Yeah.
You know, like you know,
it'd be great if they kept the narrator and it's like Adol said, "I'm too old for this."
Yeah. I mean, but that's what I want. I want that more than just about anything else, like in this series. And I hope that they eventually get to it. Like, I just think that would be great. I think it would be great to, you know, even if 11 just like skips, you know, 25 years into the future.
I thought you were a monster.
Where it's like Adol's finally taken on like
Who are you?
like the Roman army.
Adol gave his name and explained
That's what I
he'd
want.
come at
I mean, I think that everybody would like that too.
Oh, so you're the guy.
I don't think
Yeah.
there would be anybody that would complain about it.
I don't know where he found you, but you sure do look the part. Okay, thank you. You're a lifesaver, you know that? The mayor's still
I think Artemio agrees. Would love to see an old man Adol game.
Yeah.
The boss has been searching around the entrance mainly, but I guess the mayor got himself stuck farther in.
You know, and just he can be like in his his mid to late 40s. Yeah, exactly. Artemio says I would love to see it at all with a beard.
Yeah.
And exactly. I don't know if you were here, if you had gotten here yet, but my idea of what he would look like is kind of what Lake looks like in Lunar with the Silver Star, where he's like he has this big beard and he's wearing this beret with a big big cape.
And he just like
That's
starts
what I
off
want
at
him to
level 99.
But he's got to have a big red beard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Any gray in it? Does Adol get gray hair?
Oh, I think so. That would be kind of cool if it was
Just like a little patch of gray around his
patches of
mouth.
Gray in there. How about at all the alternate timeline where he's just a badass lumberjack? Like, why does it have to be an alternate timeline? Like, why can't he just have that be the framing for that adventure?
Yeah.
Like he's going someplace to like learn about being a lumberjack.
It doesn't
Or he's been
mean that
working as a
you.
lumberjack, saying like, "Oh, my adventuring days are behind me," and then he gets pulled into like killing yet another god.
And why why can't why can't you like I forget where I was going with this. I mean, it doesn't mean you can't go back to young Adol the next game. I mean, that's the beauty of the series. Someone was asking like
the order out of the water at this point.
Yeah, the order
it doesn't
doesn't matter. Like someone was asking earlier, like, oh, what should I start with E's origin or is E's 8 a good place to start? Almost any game is a good place to start.
Yeah, the only one that is not a good place to start is 2.
Yes.
Because it's like this direct sequel that takes place immediately after 1.
There's a good reason that 1 and 2 are, ever since the PC Engine, I don't think 1 and 2 have ever been sold separately.
Right. Yeah, and that's exactly. I mean, no, on the Master System, only had the first game. Wise only had.
Well, but I said since PC Engine. Like Master System and Famicom had Ys 1, but the PC Engine version came later. Right? Like,
yeah.
so that's what I'm saying. Like, ever since they created Ys Book 1 and 2 for PC Engine, I don't know if that was the first time they were sold together necessarily, but I certainly don't think since then they have ever been separate.
Yeah. Well, so in terms of like order, though, I think that if you were to play, you would get more out of Origin if you played it after 1 and 2.
I agree. You'd get much more.
Yeah, but gameplay wise, it's fine.
Yeah.
But if you played like narratively, you would get so much more.
Right. I mean, I'm like I said earlier. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't super love 1 and 2. Like, the bump combat is. I don't enjoy it that much. I like the spirit behind it, but in practice, I just don't love it that much. And also,
you should
like,
try the PSP version or the version like the Chronicles version, which still has the bump combat, but it's a lot snappier because you can.
I mean, that is the
move it,
version I
like
play.
at angles and stuff like that.
The PSP version is the only one of 1 and 2 that I've played all the way through.
Oh, so even then you didn't really care for.
And also, I honestly thought the game was fairly hard to find your way around.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't think it was as straight. I mean, like, what? I feel like I kind of come to Ys for something relatively straightforward, right? And I didn't think they were as straightforward as I expected. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand.
So, like, I actually don't like 1 and 2 that much. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you try some version of 1 and 2 and you don't really like the combat or how the game is structured, but the gameplay of this looks appealing, then Ys Origin is basically just like this game.
Yeah.
You know, I just love, in this game, it's not bump combat, but it feels like an evolution of it in a way, because like you just like really get all up in the enemy's business.
Oh, in this, you mean?
Yeah. That's what I like about the Oath and Felghana style games. It's like you just are almost like you're like a flea man. Except it's like a flea man in Castlevania, except you are the flea man and you're just like all over the enemy. I don't know.
Yeah. And I find that the bump combat in the Chronicles version of 1 and 2 is very similar to that. You're just the only thing that's different really is that you're not hitting an attack button.
Yeah.
But I understand that not being that appealing to it.
Now,
and I don't think that I don't think that anybody who plays those would be like, oh, I want more games like this.
Yeah, I mean,
it's saying like, okay, so this was like an interesting thing, and I respect them for, even with remakes, like keeping that gameplay, because it is, for better or worse, that it is a defining aspect.
They've never done a remake of 1 and 2 that didn't.
Well, no, I guess they did it like on DS. I think that one does have.
I didn't even know about that one.
Yeah, there's the DS version does have attack buttons.
Interesting.
But that's its own engine and everything like that. I have it, but I've never played it. I should check it out. I could go and pop it in right now and just to see what it's like.
But I certainly am not opposed to the idea of bump combat. I remember when the last story came out, I can't remember if like maybe the Japanese version didn't have like an attack button option and then they added it later, or maybe people were just like, oh, you need to turn it on to the attack button mode. It feels so much better. And like, I disagreed strongly. I thought it worked really well to just like hold the stick toward the enemy and your character attacks at, the maximum rate that they can attack at. And I thought it worked really well in that game.
Unfortunately, the monsters down there are in a class all their own.
So there was $10 from Giham Rovita.
Thank you.
Saying, Corey, deviating from the subject, do you guys own any plasma TVs? I bought a 55-inch. Do to use with my PS3, Xbox 360, and even my Wii and Wii U. I think they look so good on the plasma TV from that era. I do not. And I do not have
say what? I'm sorry. I'm talking to this NPC and missed basically all of that. Well, what was the question?
Guillermo Vito is asking if either of us own a plasma TV, because they bought a 55-inch to use with the PS3, Xbox 360, and even the Wii and Wii U. I think they look good. They look so good on the plasma TV from that era.
So funny story about that. Bob actually gave me a gosh, this guy won't stop talking. It's breaking my train of thought. All right, there we go. So Bob had been for years trying to, pass off one of his plasma TVs to me. And I don't think he had looked at it in a long time. It was like, I think from like basically the last year that Panasonic made plasma TVs, and it's not good. And I actually a few months ago, I couldn't justify the space for it anymore, and I just I had to take it to the grid and donate it, because it wasn't fitting in my bedroom anymore because I had to move a table that was in there that was supporting it to my parents' house, and I was just like, it just wasn't good enough for gaming, unfortunately. Or I mean, it just very noisy picture, lots of ringing artifacts, and from things that I read, like those really late, sort of more affordable plasma TVs really aren't that good. I saw a good, John has a good plasma TV. I saw a good one when I visited him. It looked nice. But I don't think people should just assume like all plasma TVs are amazing. I mean, there's definitely, and I have never really been that impressed with black levels on any plasma TV. I don't know. Like, I respect the love that people have for plasma, and I perhaps have overall just, not had the best encounters with the best plasma models. But I've just never really appreciated them that much. I got to be honest. They may have some perks for sure over LCDs. LCDs I don't use as I use OLEDs, but they have perks over LCDs, but I feel like, especially when it comes to motion clarity, but I feel like LCDs just look cleaner. Plasmas can be noisy.
My name is Duddleson, Shade of the Great Will.
So I don't know, like really good top of the line plasmas can be really cool, but there's some of those like later, more mid-range to entry-level plasmas. They aren't that great. And I was really hoping I could do something with it. Like I was like thinking about doing a video, like, like gaming on a plasma TV. But man,
nope. Now you've given it away to the grid.
I gave it away to the grid.
That's not happening.
Yeah, it's not happening. I mean, it was not unfortunate. It just wasn't good enough, in my opinion, to do a video. Like it would have been an affront to plasma fans.
Yeah.
It would not have been the video they wanted to see, because it was not a good TV. Like I tried, and there was just no way I could make anything look good.
Yeah. Well, I've got no more room for anything down here, so I just kind of resigned myself to like what I've got is what I got. If I found like a good deal on something, sure, I could figure out a place to put it in the closet. But I don't know. Like I'm just not. Just no desire to bring any more screens in here. I had to get out that VGA monitor that Jonathan Hinson gave me a while back. I think that he gave it to you, Try, and you brought it here.
Is that the best you have?
Wait, what? Oh, the VGA monitor?
Yeah, and I used that because John Linneman was doing that video on the GTA 3 Dreamcast.
Oh, right.
Version. He's like, oh, will you shoot some B-roll of that? So I like got that out of the closet and hooked it up, and Dreamcast looks so good like on a VGA monitor.
Oh yeah.
It's just like it's almost otherworldly.
I have come to like a VGA monitor for 480p more than like the 20L5. I don't know how to explain it really. I just think it looks better.
Yeah, I get that. But yeah, like I had to shoot some stuff off of that for it, and you know, it's just amazing how good it still looks. You got your magic bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch that video yet, though. I know that he released it today. But I was
Oh,
only
yeah.
able to- I was driving at the time, so did not see it.
Wait, so he asked you to record what for it?
Just like some off-screen shots of the game, like on a VGA monitor. Because he did it too. Like originally, like he asked me to do stuff.
Right, because he showed me some
he's like, I don't
pictures
have
of
time
him
to get my
playing
equipment.
it on. So that's I guess why I was like, wait, why did he need that?
The what?
Because that's what I was going to say. He showed me some photos of him playing it on a VGA monitor. So I was like, why did
he asked
need
me to do it, and then he's like, I don't have time to get my stuff out. And then he said, I ended up getting it out, and I was already like in the process of like filming stuff. So I shot a bunch of it, and then that can go in our archives anyways.
Yeah. Good to have.
Yeah. Kaylee Gamer sent 3 working VGA monitors to e-waste recycling years ago. Regrets. No regrets, buddy. Just gotta go with it. I've got 2 here, and you know, like they're just in the closet. I don't really, unless I have like a reason to get them out.
I wish I had mine set up in a way that was like more inviting to actually like use to play.
Yeah.
But
I think you're trying to get out of here. Aren't you trying to go back to the surface?
no, I had to get the I have to go back down, and now that I have the magic bracelet,
Oh, okay.
I can fight the enemies down below that are immune to regular attacks.
I hope, like, since they've like started doing these Memoire games, I really just want them to do a console port of 7.
Yeah.
That's like the #1 thing that I want from them. I mean, outside of a remake
Outside of Old
5.
Adol.
What's that?
Outside of Old Adol.
Yeah, and a remake of 5. But
Yeah.
either way, like that doesn't like that's neither here nor
I mean,
there.
I'm
But I
actually-
would love a console version because Steam has the port of 7, and it runs pretty good. It runs pretty good on Steam Deck too. But I would just like to have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was what I mean. There's been HD versions of this game before as well, but it like wasn't there like a
It's
version previously for Switch or something? But there was like never like a physical or something, or
Of this?
well, I don't know if it was for Switch or for PS4. I feel, or there have been
what?
other HD versions of this, but there's just never been a physical copy until now.
No, it was PC only. And
Oh,
then
or maybe that's
Japan
what I
got
was
this
thinking. I
one,
don't know.
but Switch only at first, and then they got the PS5 version. That's when it got brought over.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
No,
So-
this is the only like non-PC version that is for a non-handheld.
Okay. But, you know, I'm actually much more interested in playing Ys 5, I feel, since last year, because when I was working on the SNES Edge Enhancer video, you know, since it was installed on a Super Famicom, I was, I just thought, you know, like, I had some Super Famicom carts that I had never booted. And I was like, I think it would be a fun little thing to do to just like, not that anyone but me would know, but I just thought it would be a fun part of the process to like use every single Super Famicom cartridge I have in the making of the video. I just decided that was the thing I wanted to do. And, you know, I had I booted Ys 5 before? I honestly don't know. But, you know, there were saves on my cartridge. So I was able to, like, load up and, like, kind of get a sense for, you know, the combat and stuff. And honestly, I thought it played a lot better than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of had... It's slower for sure,
see,
but
like, the lines from that to this style.
Huh?
You can trace the lines from
A little bit, I guess. I mean,
to, like this style.
I really kind of feel like it stands on its own, though.
Oh yeah. I mean,
It's a very unusual and unique type of Ys game, but
Yeah.
I honestly really liked it. I thought I thought there was just kind of a good flow to it.
Yeah.
By the way, Adol, when I'm using magic, is like eat this. I don't remember if that was in the PSP version or not.
I don't know. But that's what I mean. Like, if you say it every time, he does it too.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that is in the PSP version.
I do not understand where the desire developers or players have to like hear characters like say the same things over and over again comes from.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think that anybody does.
But they just feel like they have to do
we
it.
got this voice actor in here. We got to like make it so that you hear him all the time.
Like, does anyone here feel like oh yeah, like if I didn't hear this character say things constantly, like I wouldn't feel connected to the game.
Yeah. Because there's no barks in the original versions of both, but I wonder if it's in the PC version. Because I hear "eat this," that sounds like.
Yeah, he's like burn.
Yeah, I wonder if it's the same voice actor. My copy of this has been sitting like on the very edge of out for delivery for several days now because Amazon got real screwed up around here because of the snow. And, you know, Best Buy has it, but I'm not going to drive down there for...
You know, I ordered mine at Best Buy.
I don't need to... Like, why do I need it now if I wasn't going to play it right then? You know, I probably would have played it right then, but I'm not going to go out of my way for it.
No, I mean, I picked mine up at Best Buy, and I was honestly, I actually picked it up 2 days late just because I was busy on Tuesday, didn't have time to go, and then I had to go to the pet store, which was in the opposite direction of Best Buy the next day, get food for Sandy. So anyway, I didn't pick it up for 2 days, and it surprised me to see like behind the counter at Best Buy there were like 2 other copies waiting for pickup. Like when it comes to like relatively niche things like this, like I'm I'm usually assuming I'm like the only person like doing in-store pickup for this game at my Best Buy, you know?
Yeah.
And especially 2 days after the fact, it's kind of surprising that that they were still there. So I wonder how many people picked it up the day it came out, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Lee's channel, I'll make a note and come back to yours after I get these two super chats here. There was $5 from Mike Stuff. Thank you. Saying, I like it when you highlight certain developers. What do you both think of Sikio? Sikio? I know you're talking about, like the shooter. Both the Sikio game stream. Cannon Spike on Dreamcast is an all-time favorite for me.
Is that a specific
came out with those
developer?
shooter collections. They had like several of those. Like, what is it, like Strikers 1940? Is it Strikers 1942 or something like that?
I'm not the
1945.
biggest shooter aficionado, so
I'm sure they did that. That would be fun. So okay, yeah, they did like the Gunbird. They did Gunbird. Let's see what else I played of theirs.
What are you doing in a place like this?
I mean, that would be kind of fun.
I mean, you know,
like I just feel like I should do more just like game videos. Like,
yeah,
I feel,
well,
feel
like,
inspiration.
Like I said last week, like something that I want to do with my renewed initiative to do, you know, shorter videos. You know, instead of doing 64 third-party N64 games worth playing all at once, like I'm interested in just like biting off like kind of some subtopics. So, you know, maybe Konami on the N64 or racing games on the N64 or, you know, something like that. You know, do certain sets of games and then, you know, maybe make it a compilation once I've done 64 someday. But yeah, I mean, that's something I'm interested in starting doing soon-ish.
So I've not played like a ton of their games. I mean, I know that Strikers 1945 and Strikers 1945 2 are pretty good. I have those two collections that came out. Did they do Gumbarish? Gumbarich? Something like that. I have that on the Switch. So yeah, Gunbarish. It's like a puzzle game. I wish I had more to offer than, hey, I played a bunch of them, or I've not played very many of them, but I've not played them nearly enough. Let's see. There was also another $5 from Gihammer Vita. Thank you. Saying I played one of my Dreamcasts on a Dell 2007 FPB with the Sega VGA box. So that's the flat screen. That's like the 4:3 flat screen that I do have over here.
Oh.
And I could use it on mine too. The other Dreamcast is hooked up to a 14-inch RCA CRT through S-Video and looks great too. Yeah, I talk about it a lot.
Look at that unfiltered texture. I love it.
I talk about the Dreamcast a lot when the first time I ever saw it, you know, seeing that 480i signal on it, there's just like something about it that like it may as well have been HD to me because it looks so crisp and clear, and I didn't realize that there was anything like I didn't know what it was doing, obviously, and I remember like getting used to that to the point where when I would play a 240p PS2 game, I think it might have been Disgaea. And I was like, why does this look so blurry and weird? It's like a PS2 game. How come it does not look so crisp like everything else? And I didn't play it very much because of that. And little did I know what it was doing.
I
But yeah, I mean the Dreamcast just looks so crisp. The first time I ever saw Sonic Adventure running, like the grass. In in Emerald Coast.
I remember thinking the grass was like made out of individual blades.
Yeah,
like it
really
just like
a
it
really
looked so
high-quality
crisp
texture.
it fooled my mind into thinking it was.
Yeah, and Halo 1 has really great texture, grass texture too. And I remember thinking like, oh, that looks really good too.
You know, I honestly do not, you know, I've not played that much of, you know, any of the original versions of East. Oh man, I was so close. I've not played much of the original versions, but you know, I'm well aware of like that first, you know, bat boss. This is very different. I don't remember how different this boss was in the PSP version. And she's stationary. She doesn't move.
There was $5 from EB Chill 2. Thank you. Saying, love the games we played video. Corey, it seems that there's an increase in PC games last year, which would be the same for me if true. I think I played a lot more on my Steam Deck this year compared to previous years.
Yeah,
And
I mean that's really it, right? I mean you haven't really been playing, like, you haven't been like sitting at your desk and like playing a PC game, really.
No, even though I could or whatever, but I just don't. I like treating the Steam Deck, even though I guess I don't like treating it like. I'd like to treat it like it's its own console in a way.
Right. I mean, I'm definitely interested to see if anyone makes like a really good Steam OS, you know, non-handheld, you know, with you know, with Valve's like powered by Steam OS label, like that can happen now. And they're doing the new Lenovo Legion or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Is I mean, you know, I don't especially want to buy into a Steam handheld, but I get so sick of having to deal with Windows nonsense.
What are you doing here?
Every time I need to like stream a Steam game, you know,
Yeah,
or do anything with a Steam game, like it's just I want to be able to do things with Steam games without always having to deal with some sort of Windows hassle. I mean, Henry Clark, the Bazite, the thing with like Bazite, I mean, for one, I'm worried that it could be semi-abandoned once.
Well, I think the Steam OS is coming out they're going to allow you to install it on other things.
Right, but like, and I'm just worried if Bazite is really going to be like kept up with long term. You know, if Valve does more with Steam OS in the future, and also like currently it sounds like it's not really properly supported for NVIDIA cards, which is, you know, what I have. So
there was also a couple of donations from old Matthew. Thank you. First one said, what if instead of characters always saying a phrase with nothing related to the action, like a cure spell with "Ha, the world's already been destroyed twice." That would make it infinitely more appealing to me.
I mean,
maybe the first time you hear it, maybe the first 100 times.
It's always a pet peeve of mine when you've got like non-voiced lines, and then they're little. I don't think a character bark is the right word for it. There's a term for it, and I can't remember what it is when they're during like a normal dialogue sequence, and they like say some sort of like canned thing that like summarizes the emotion of what's written.
Yeah.
But you know, they're just like what, and they don't actually. The word "what" is not in the written dialogue.
No,
I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah.
It's like, what did they say canonically just now? Did they say that, or did they say what they said out loud?
Well, usually they say something, or they just like nod their head, or they will say something, and then but they'll just like use the yeah. Jimmy Sindler says, "I see."
I mean, there's so many like just deeply entrenched tropes of how video game stories are presented that I feel the way we tell video game stories is sometimes just so bloated with all of these little unnecessary things that just get in the way and we don't really need. And a lot of games do a good job of streamlining and throwing it. I got in so much trouble with Legend of Heroes fans when I said in that Final Fantasy 13 video I did with John that like, hey, I feel like FF13 and FF7 Remake have the right idea where you just like wander town and just like have a log of like things NPCs are saying amongst themselves, but you don't like talk to them directly. You just like passively, gather the atmosphere, the world building, the information they drop, and there's only actually relatively few functional NPCs you interact with. The other thing that, I think Dragon Quest III HD2D was a great reminder of.
I like the idea that he says at all, gave him his backstory and said the circumstances of how he arrived here. It'd be really funny if he told everything that happened in 10 and Salsetta. Well, first I was driving a boat,
and
then we discovered the entire mapped the entire Salsetta forest.
And then
I lost my memory, and
then at 10, I had to learn a new ability, and then we talked about it for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And another ability
we talked to this lady for weeks or months. It's just very funny. It's before that, I climbed this super tall tower and, got warped to this floating island in the sky, and then I helped bring it back down to the ground.
And yet, despite all these things Adol just told them, we're just carrying on this conversation now.
Yeah. Because it feels like in 9, at least the characters are like, oh, I've heard about you. They know. And I feel like even at this point, old Chester here, the young knight, as we're seeing, might have heard some rumblings. So, I was gonna say something else, but I forgot. Either way, Matthew had another donation for $2. Thank you. It says, "Yo, this Ease Games got some dope sounding music."
It does. I mean, I feel like Ease 3 is one of the all-time great soundtracks.
Yeah, but hearing you talk about the stuff that about Legend of Heroes stuff, I'm starting to feel like you might not like more games in this series after a certain point.
You've only... Oh, you mean this series?
Yeah, because that Legend of Hero-ness, to really just talk a lot.
It's not that don't get me wrong. I've only played Trails in the Sky, which I didn't really like that much. The characters were very charming. The soundtrack was amazing, but I did not like the battle system. I didn't like it lit in on. I am actually very interested how I am going to. Don't get me wrong. NPC dialogue in games can be great. For example, the way that they do it in Persona. Talking to your friends and building up your social links, that is part of the gameplay and part of the driving force behind the game, right? And similarly, like in Dragon Quest 3, it's a great reminder that, especially if you turn off like the modern guidance systems in Dragon Quest 3, like talking to NPCs used to not just be story and world building. It used to be information valuable to where do I go? What do I do? What are some things that
you have to talk to certain people to trigger what's going to happen next.
Well, it's not just talking to them to trigger what's happening next. The thing I like so much about Dragon Quest 3 that I think is so appealing, you can do so many things without getting anyone's permission, without anyone telling you that this place exists or that there is an item there. If you stumble upon a place before anyone tells you about it, you can still do what you need to do there. In almost all cases. Sometimes the NPC is like a trigger, but usually because they give you an item that
to get into the place.
To get into a place. It's not like, oh, the only reason you had to talk to this NPC was to just advance the plot. Like, the NPCs exist to serve the gameplay and your expanding exploration of the world. And I think that's what's so refreshing about that. But I will be interested in what I don't have a problem with games being, wordy and having lots of talking and story, but it's just, how is it done? Sometimes it can be done in a tedious way. And sometimes there are ways that are stream.
I think some of these, they just they say a lot of the same things over and over again. They got to restate it. And I feel like they don't really trust the player to just be like, okay, that's fine. They gotta keep on mentioning things. Yeah. But I don't know, that's just
that's what got so annoying about
most stuff these days. I mean, there was a big thing recently where they said that producers at Netflix said your movie has to be simple enough for people to understand, because most people watching it are not paying attention. So I wonder if they just in a lot of games now, they're so
people's attention is so divided
and and repeat it so much because they need to. They're afraid that people aren't paying attention.
Well, then don't make your games about things that you have to pay so much attention to. If that's what you think.
That's what's so cool about this is that it doesn't waste any time.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little more wordy than I remembered it, to be honest. But
it feels positively fast moving compared.
Yeah, but I will be interested to see what I think of Trails of Cold Steel and how interested I will be in. Right now, if I even like Cold Steel, it's hard for me to imagine delving deeper into the series beyond just that Cold Steel, those 4 Cold Steel games, because there's so much, and
that first one. I mean, I played through Cold Steel 1. It's a real slow burn, and as is true with. And it's funny because I've only played Trails of Cold Steel 1 and Trails in the Sky 1.
Yeah.
And those two are known for being the first in their trilogies or whatever. And they're just they set up the world or the country that you're in. And I mean, Trails of Cold Steel is so slow moving because you just go to different places and you just do the same things over and over again because it wants to show you the different regions. And nothing really even happens in Cold Steel until the last hour of the game, which is actually kind of funny. I mean, it's funny because you spend I think the first time I played through Cold Steel, it was 85 hours, and then things just go nuts in the last hour of the game, and then it ends with a cliffhanger. And you immediately want to jump into the second one.
Yeah,
but the same thing happens with Trails in the Sky.
Yeah, and I had no idea it was going to end that way.
To show you the world, and then it doesn't really get crazy until the very end.
And
then you find out like, oh, there's this big backstory to Joshua.
And there's
right
like
from there-
all, there's these different extra games that were in Japan, which I didn't even know until I finished the game and on a cliffhanger. It's like, oh, well, I just like spent all this time playing a game with an incomplete story that we don't even know if it's getting localized, And then when it finally did, it never got a physical copy. And it had been so long and I couldn't remember. And I didn't like the gameplay of the first game that much. And I mean, I have been thinking, people are like, oh, you got to start with this one. It's like, I feel like the older I get, and like this is more like something that I've been thinking about in recent years. Like, I feel like, and this is like something about Yakuza that like is like kind of holding me back too. It's like, the older I get, like, how much do I care about these like interconnected stories, I feel like, ever since like the Marvel universe, like ever since Endgame, like it's had such a hard time finding its footing again, right? Like it did that first arc so well, and then it's just like they can't recapture that, those interconnected stories in the way that they did previously. And it's just like and you think about how they just like totally blew it with Star Wars, with the episodes 7, 8, 9, and and all of the. It's just like the more that they oversaturate with all of these like ongoing stories and all of these movies and TV shows and games, I'm just like, they're just. Like, I'm thinking more and more and more about the fact that they're just making it up as they go along, and there's no like master plan to the story that they're telling. And I'm like, why do I want to become invested in a story that like they don't even know where they're going with it?
And you know what Elena is saying there, like, sums it all up. I just want to know what's happening and why. Just tell me what is happening at the beginning of each game and why. But that's like so much stuff these days, and I do agree, because there's so much stuff that requires, frankly, it requires homework. Like, you gotta like be in on this the whole time, and you can jump in. Like, I see people are saying like, oh, you can just start with Daybreak, because I think that the overarching story kind of ends with Trials of Cold Steel 4, and then like everything else has kind of been like the start of something new. But I might be wrong. But it's tough to get into this stuff if you weren't there like early on, because there's like one or two of these games coming out. Okay, so Reverie is like the end of that. Is like the end of like the was like the Liberal, Crossbell, and what's the name of the continent or the country in Cold Steel? And Reverie is like the end of the end of like those. Okay, so Sky, Crossbell. But it's like the first one's like the Liberal, Erebonia, yes. It's amazing how much like I know about these, having only played 2 of them. Reverie, Trails into Reverie is like the end of that, I guess. And then starting with Daybreak is kind of like a new thing. But all these characters will crop up, like surviving characters will crop up, but I don't think it's like necessary to know. Okay, so Reverie ends the Crossbell. So Reverie is a remake, though, isn't it? Is Reverie a remake of? I thought Crossbell was like a 3. It was. Okay, what? Either way, it feels like there's so much stuff that the only way to like get caught up, if you want to like be a part of it, is to be like, all right, I'm literally gonna play nothing else but this series for the next year. I mean, really, like I could probably get caught up on Yakuza, like if I decided like I'm only gonna play Yakuza games this year, and nothing else.
Yeah.
And that seems like a pretty tall order. And
I mean,
I feel like,
you know, I saw Korvac mention Final Fantasy 14, and you know what absolutely shocks me about Final Fantasy 14's success? I mean, I'm caught up on the story, but it blows my mind that the way they like in Final Fantasy 11, when they did expansions, you didn't necessarily have to like do the main story in them even.
What do you got for me? This the one? Good to go.
And
Right.
oh, I guess I don't know when.
but that's still like one game. But imagine if it was 8 games.
This the one? Good to go. This good to go.
Yeah, but
There's
like
like
but it
80
blows-
hours each.
But like you didn't have to like do the story to go to the new locations in 11. In 14 you do. You can't go to a single new location until you have finished the story of the previous expansion, and then between expansions they release like a free storyline that like leads up to the story of the next expansion. And it blows my mind that there are like enough people out there that have like met the criteria for like doing any content at all, because you have to keep playing the entire game. It surprises me that it's you know, seemingly not become a burden on the game's success. And I wonder if at some point they're going to have a clean break where it's like, okay, you don't have to have done all of the prior storylines to do.
But haven't they made it so it's easier to play through those early stories? And it's
Well, they really
faster and easier now?
really only overhauled A Realm Reborn, which is kind of like, you know, what you start on,
like the intro,
and it's considered like the slow lessing. I mean, a lot of people really struggle. That's a bit of a struggling point. But I mean, you still like. There's no point in playing through the new storylines if you don't play the previous storylines, because they're very connected. You know, like you would be completely lost by the story. You know, even Dawn Trail, which is, you know, relatively kind of a fresh start. It's really kind of not like the main villains we've been following like up to this point are gone, but like, you know, you would still be so lost about like all these characters, the connections you have to them, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, you know, even if they wanted to do it that way, I don't know. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing next. I wasn't paying that close attention. It's difficult. There's more talky talk to pay attention to while streaming this game than I anticipated.
There was $10 16 minutes ago. Sorry about that, Matt. From Matt Gurley. Thank you. Saying, I loved your year-end video as always. While we all loved Astrobot, best PS5 game so far, Arzette was the biggest surprise. The gameplay and music were perfect, and I hope they continue the series. I hope so too.
Yeah, I was a little bit sad that you know, Arzette wasn't like on the list for, you know, the best like indie debut or anything like that for the
like a game
for the
Awards
Game Awards. Yeah. I mean,
a lot of people talked about it. Everyone who talked about it, like, or everybody who played it talked about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really, you know, because we were aware of the game for some time before it came out, even before it was announced, and you know, I was really worried, like, you know, I'm like, this is really good, and I'm so excited for this, but I just don't know if people are going to understand what it's going for. you know, and wow, like people, it just seemed to be discovered by the exact right audience for it, right?
Yeah.
Like people understood it and they thought it was fun, and I was very happy to see that. Seems like it's been a great success for Seth.
Yeah, I mean, I wish that it was on more lists, but nothing we can do.
So do you have any idea what I'm supposed to do? What am I supposed to do next?
I don't remember.
There's probably more NPCs in town I'm supposed to be talking to.
Yeah, probably in the town.
I try to be hastier with this kind of stuff on streams because I'm worried it's boring, but then I end up going too fast and I end up getting lost and I have a hard time paying attention. And
but also, you know, it helps that you've played this before, so you know generally how they. I think you got to go to blacksmith and see if he can.
Oh, I already upgraded
the
the stuff, but I didn't know this lady was going to have something new to do.
Oh, Cynthia's like bursting out of that top though.
I wonder how different the original art is.
Yeah, how different.
I guess we
she,
can
like,
check.
bursting out of-
We can check what the original art looked like. We have the
she's
power.
bursting out of her boob window on her top there.
Yeah, she's a fair bit different in the old art, I'd have to say.
I mean, it's definitely.
I mean,
yeah.
it's pretty different, actually.
It's different enough. Yeah.
It's different enough, yeah. There's a difference.
I mean, you know, old Felghana does have a bit of a horny streak to them, for sure. Like, I mean, just look at like in E's 8, look at Donna's outfit, for crying out loud. Oh, you're gonna switch back here.
Well, I'm just seeing what the different characters look like. I mean, this game is still new enough that they don't have like
I want to see what that one guy with like the big old like the circular lips.
Oh yeah. Is he at the entrance to the well?
I don't know.
I gotta be honest, I've never liked that, like I don't even know like where that trope in Japanese like anime art came from, like the big round lip guy. Like I've always thought it was just really weird how that's drawn. Like I think Akira Toriyama did it a lot. Like I don't know. I was just, what is this? Where did the idea from this come from? I don't like those really weird round lips.
Yeah. I see Henry Clark is mentioning Karja's outfit in E's 10. And what's interesting about that is that I switched her to like her original outfit as soon as they gave me an option. Because I mean, she only wears that outfit as like a means to like hide her identity. And then once everybody knows who she is, there's no reason for her to keep those clothes on. So I actually switched it back to like what she wears at the very beginning of the game, but without the helmet on. I played through almost the entire game like that, because it just didn't make sense to keep that on her, because there's no reason. And I didn't even think anything about it until I was almost the end of the game. Yeah, I mean, I think they gave it to you. They gave you the option, is that, you know, she got her outfit, or she has the option to wear this stuff. There he is, Paul. Jeez, Paul.
But yeah, this game isn't quite old enough to have for the old artwork to really feel like, old time anime or anything, right?
Yeah. I mean, like these, like a lot of the Falcom art from this time period, like it has more of a hand painted look to it.
Mm.
I see Ashura's in the chat. Hopefully you're
yeah.
feeling good. I don't know if you've made it back home or not. Hopefully you're back home.
I was under the impression he was back home last week.
I don't recall because I was playing. So we're finding out where you need to go here, right?
Yeah.
Out of the hospital, recouping, feeling a bit better today, little by little. I'm glad to hear it. So what is she saying? Father Pierre says.
Oh, do I need to talk to the priest?
Something happens, you got to go to the volcano.
Oh, here we go.
That's what you need to do. You got to go to the volcano.
This has become quite serious indeed. Why would Father Pierre go to such a place?
Please forgive me. I should have tried harder to stop him.
My, such blazing red hair.
So has anybody in the chat been to Legoland?
I've heard murmurings about you amongst the townsfolk. My name is Nicholas. I am head of the Felghana diocese.
It's Legoland with a Peppa Pig area on it.
Oh.
And my son was like, I don't want to do that. And I was like, I know that you wouldn't want to do that, but
the doggy in my lap is having a.
I wonder if they have an arcade at Legoland.
The doggy in my lap is having a dream right now. By the way, I can feel her wiggling her legs.
The one in Florida, the one in Orlando. Because we're taking my son next weekend, so as such, will not be on stream next week.
I fear, however, that my
did you put together your piranha plant yet?
No, not yet. I have not had a chance to do that.
Are you familiar with the Ilburn's ruins to the northeast of here? They are the remnants of a temple used by practitioners of a pagan religion from a long-lost era. It would seem that Father Pierre has taken it upon himself.
I was thinking about getting back into doing those the morning streams on the Twitch channel though.
There's a dormant volcano behind it which has recently become active anew.
As a means to start the day.
And popular rumor suggests the place is infested with monsters of all shapes and sizes.
All the more reason for concern. One cannot help but fear the worst.
So we have a direct flight from Cincinnati down to Orlando, and apparently Legoland is like an hour away from the airport.
They say you're the one who rescued Mayor Edgar from the quarry.
We're not taking the old bean there. We're not taking the Nelly bean.
You undertake another such mission.
Someone is staying here
Courage.
while we're gone.
On behalf of the church, you have my deepest gratitude. I believe you will be needing this.
I mean, we're just going to Legoland. I mean, we can't go to the Disney would be too expensive.
Just off the road to the northeast of here. This key opens the
I mean, Nintendo Land. It's not in Florida though, is it?
Have they opened up? Have they opened one there? I mean, I know the first one was in LA.
Please.
Yeah, I don't think they've opened one down there yet.
Safety of Father Pierre. May God be with you. Fight well, adventurer.
See, if this was Dragon Quest 3,
Yeah.
I would not have had to be like, okay, who do I gotta talk to? Where do I gotta go? If I just wanted to go wherever the heck Father Pierre is, like I could have just gone there without having any, like if I just explored, the game would have let me go there without, any barrier, most likely. But no, I had to, we can't have the story be out of order. So I have to, talk to the guy who has to give me the key that unlocks something. Yeah. I probably should have been paying more attention to where that key is even for. Ruins key. Ilburn's
Yeah,
Ruins.
Easier. When
Is
you're
that
not-
through the? Is that through the mines or?
the
somewhere else?
Ilburn Ruins? Or no, it's its own.
So I don't.
The music in the Ilburn Ruins is so good too.
So is that like to the north?
I think so.
So I'm going the wrong way, I think.
But I think you might be able to go north from where you're at. So the Super Nintendo Land
this
in
is
Orlando
weird.
does not open until March. So yeah, that's not an option. If it had been open or was opening when we were gonna go, like we would have done that instead for sure.
So, for some reason, I'm just like hitting stuff. Like you're running, right? Like you've got analog movement. Like you walk slowly if you want to, just by
Yeah.
tilting. But for some reason, I was just like pressing a touchpad to see what it does. And for some reason, if you hold the touchpad, he walks.
Yeah, I mean you can probably change that in the options, but they all.
That's
have,
just
like,
a
some
really
reason.
weird. That's a weird place to put that.
I don't know. I recommend getting on a plane. We're just, you know what? My son didn't know where he wanted to go, so we presented that as an option. He's like, "Yeah, I'll do that." So, I mean, we're only going for 2 days. So, and we have family coming up from Fort Myers to hang out with us too. We haven't seen in a while.
Yeah, I mean you've got family.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be fun.
It's not just for him. Was this gonna be 10 for him?
How far is NASA from Legoland? Because that would be really neat. It's an hour from Orlando. Is it close to the airport? Or is it an hour further from the airport?
Oh, here we go.
45 minutes from the airport on the water.
You getting
'Cause I
down,
know that-
Sandy?
The airport is an hour away from Legoland. Okay, so if we were to go from Legoland to there, it would be like 2 hours. That would be cool, but I'm not sure if we would have time. But I didn't realize, I think we are renting a car. So maybe that would be an option.
How not excited is your daughter?
I think that she's kind of excited.
Yeah?
I mean, it's just going someplace and, you know, it's something to do. I don't know. She's in that phase where she like looks like she's not having fun no matter what she's doing. She's just like just like comes off like she's not having fun. But I think that once we get into it, it'll be fine. But you know, so right after that, or like a week after that, a week and a half after that, my wife is going to Paris.
Oh wow.
She's going for work, and she was only supposed to go for like a conference for like 3 days, and I was like, why would you go all that way and like not stay longer? You know, and only go to this conference and like not stay longer.
Yeah.
So both of her sisters are going with her, and she's going for 10 days. So
that's
I'm like going to
pretty
be
good.
on my own for 10 days with the kids. This is like uncharted territory, like that amount of time. So
Well,
I
that
think
should
it'd
be
be
fun
pretty
for
cool.
her.
You know, unless she decides not to come back and she finds some she is going to the city of love. And maybe she just like won't come back. She's like, screw you, and my children. I ain't coming back. Be like, was it before sunrise that takes place, or is it before sunset that takes place in Paris, or is it in Italy? I don't remember. But 10 days, that's a long time. And usually, if it's like last time she was gone for 5 days, I say, like, if you guys are good, like, I'll buy you something expensive if you guys like help me keep it together. So I'll just do that.
Did they help you keep it together?
Yeah. And then like I bought them each something for $50.
Nice.
So do I gotta like up it to buy them each something for $100 now? I don't know. But I think it's very cool that she gets to do that.
Yeah, that's super cool.
And it's funny because I told John Linneman about it, and he's like, "Dude, are you going? Because it's like a couple hours from me, or something. It's like not very far from him."
Yeah.
I'm like, no, she's going with her sisters because the kids are not going to go. I'm not going to deal with taking them. I would not want to. But that should be fun. But she had to get her passport renewed, and I realized like I need to get it just a new passport. I can't even renew it because it expired like right after we went to Japan.
Oh.
So it's
yeah, you need to get on that.
And if it's not a rush, it's not that bad. But
you never know when it could be.
Driver's license renewed. I'm gonna have to go and do that tomorrow.
Oh, you're going to do it tomorrow?
No, my driver's license needs to be renewed also.
Oh.
It's like every, I don't remember how many years it is in Kentucky, but they give you like a month after your birthday to do it. So I have until like the end of this month. Thankfully, it's will be fine for my trip. But I think that's the only things that are on the docket for me. No con invites yet.
Yeah, I don't think there's any.
It's fine,
Yeah, I'm sure we'll go to some cons this year, but nothing has come up yet.
Yeah, and I feel like 2 is like a good amount. Like I don't want to go to more than 2. I think you went to 3 last year, or did you go to 2 last year?
I went to 4.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I guess last year we went to Midwest Gaming Classic,
Long Island.
Long
But
Island,
you
right?
also did like Korgs, which I mean, maybe you
but
think.
that doesn't really count because that's just me going.
I mean,
I'm not a guest. I'm talking more as a guest.
yeah, I mean, Southeast Game Exchange is close enough that like it would almost not count for me, but I was a guest, so it kind of counted, I guess. But
Yeah.
I'd love. I mean, I definitely implied that I would like them to invite us again, and that hopefully you could come next time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
we haven't been in several times to Retro World. You mean?
No, to Southeast Game Exchange. You've never been.
Oh, okay, right.
That was a good time.
Yeah, I did. A new one just started here, like Super Cincy Con or something like that, and they just had the first one. And I saw somebody at Korgs who says like, "Oh, I'm involved with like some of the planning of it." I'm like, I would absolutely go because I'm right there. It's I have no reason not to. It takes no effort,
Yeah.
for me to go. So We'll see if we.
I
Hear
mean,
anything about
you should plan to come to Southeast Game Exchange. Like we should. I mean, hopefully they'll invite us. But
yeah,
it was really cool. Really cool, and there's some fun shops to stop at on the way.
Right.
It's not that far.
Okay, so it looks like my Ease oath has been now expected by January 14th. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, this game?
Yeah, but we'll see. Hopefully, hopefully it's all right. Let me ask you something about your
Almost sneezed.
your computer that you have in your what is it, like the Fractal case? What is it?
The Fractal North or the
Yeah, the Fractal North.
The Fractal North XL or the Fractal Torrent? I have both.
The one that has the
wood panel?
The wood grain in the front.
Yeah,
the one that I have. Do you have the Pro Art in that? Or do you have something else in it? Or do you have a Pro Art in it?
Yes, I think I have a Pro Art board in that.
So my front panel USB ports like basically don't.
Have they ever worked?
I mean, it gets power, but the USB-C one does not get any power.
Oh, I use
it.
I use that USB port one like constantly.
Yeah, so I've heard something about how like some of the Fractal cases, like the front port's not working is kind of like a typical thing, and if you contact them, they'll send you like a replacement part.
Oh, interesting. No, I've never. I mean, I use that all the time because
I want to, but it stopped working. And it definitely sends power, but it's like wasn't mounting anything. Even the just like the USB Type A.
No,
we're sending power. Unless the USB-C, like maybe I need to turn off like the power delivery option for it, in the motherboard settings.
I have never had issues, so I don't even know what to look into, if there could be a setting or something. I mean, Henry would definitely. I mean, yeah, he's talking North XL with the same board, so he's the person to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, mine I think is the Pro Art as well. It's probably the same board.
Yeah, like 607E or something like that.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know what's up with that. But you know what I have, Mr. Do, who I assume is still present. He sent me, Drum and Lynn each. Like these Samsung SS, like 1 terabyte SSDs that his work bought, but then ended up not using. And I bought a Sabrent, M2 drive, like external drive enclosure, and it's got USB-C on it, and that's like become my main, like, external USB drive. Like I use that to ferry video files between downstairs and upstairs like constantly. So I use that USB-C port a ton. I've also not downstairs, but upstairs I switched over to use it with the torrent computer. I switched over using
what is it called? The Fractal North
XL.
XL.
Yeah. I mean, the only problem I've had with
Ashura, you can look that up and you can see what it looks like. So.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. There's. I have the. Did you were going to get the black one, but you got the white one, I think, right?
Yeah.
I wanted the white one just for something different, I really liked it. The one with the vents instead of the window. The only problem I've had is with my torrent. case, which is the one upstairs. And this has been very recent that just one of the fans, it's got like these gigantic bottom intake fans. And one of them just started making noise a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I was pretty sure that's what it was because I could see from the LED lights on the capture card reflecting on it that like it was just like moving at a different rate than the other one on the bottom. And so I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's it. And I finally unplugged it. It would like the noise would go away after maybe 10, 15 minutes, but then it started getting worse. And so I unplugged it just to confirm that was the issue. And I was going to buy a replacement fan, but it turns out like they're 180 millimeter fans. It turns out that's like extremely uncommon and they're weirdly expensive. This is what I learned from Henry, who is my go-to source for all questions computer related at this point. I always feel bad. He's like our unofficial tech support sometimes.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he was the one who recommended the torrent to me for that computer in the first place. And so he's like, oh yeah, only like Fractal and like one other case maker, like the only people that really make the 180 millimeter fans. I mean, I was looking for them on eBay. Like you can get like open box Fractal 180 millimeter fans on eBay, but you know, there's just not a lot sold at one time. And you know, I tried to make an offer on one of them and it just wasn't a good enough deal. I might just end up replacing it with a 140 millimeter fan because it's not like there's that much difference in noise. I mean, that case is like essentially dead silent, but my Fractal North XL is pretty dead silent too, or close to it. But unless I'm like rendering something, that upstairs computer makes almost no noise. Like it's crazy how quiet it is.
My fans like really kick in a lot, but I've tweaked the settings so that it is more gradual now. Like it would go full blast anytime it came under any stress before.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not seeing anything like. I was seeing if there's any USB drivers for it, but I don't see anything showing up here. So I wonder if it's just like a busted board in there or something like that. Like it's just not working.
I don't know. Or, you know, some of those cases, I don't remember how the North was inside, but some of those cases have like, you know, like boards connected to other boards, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's like a whole bunch of like fans connected to like a fan controller board that's in like connected to a port on the motherboard and stuff like that.
Well, maybe I should contact them. I wonder if I can go to the port.
I mean, it seems like Fractal is like the premier case maker these days, so.
Okay, well, I'm on their support page now, so I'll see if I can send them a.
Yeah, so I
see
mean.
if they have like live support or anything like that.
Considering how popular they are, I would like to think they have decent customer support, but I honestly have no idea. I haven't.
So wait, is there a separate, so the USB A ports connect to the header on the motherboard. It's easy to bend pins. The C port is different. Is there a separate cable for the C port? Maybe I didn't.
Maybe you didn't connect it, or you connected it to the wrong one.
Or I mean, there's only one port it can go into. Like I thought it was just a USB port. Oh, well, maybe they're 100% independent. That might be what the problem is. I thought that they were the same ones. So
I remember like USB-C, or at least like USB-C or USB like 3.1 and 3.2 ports. Aren't they like they're like much chunkier cables?
Yeah, well, it's like this weird one. It has like a I don't know, like a middle pin, like a little.
What are you doing? Here?
It clicks in. It clicks into like a place on it, but I didn't realize that there's a separate
I could just as easily ask you that
connector
same
for
question,
that.
Father Pierre. This is not a fit place for the
I should
likes
open
of
up and see if there's
you.
anything
If you
underneath.
value your life,
Maybe it's an installation issue. That's that. I'm okay with that. I'm by no means
At least let Elena know what you're doing.
the best
And
at
that
this
you're
stuff.
okay. She's been worried sick. She's never stopped looking for you after all this
I
time.
could get the manual out
Since
and
she
take a
lost
look.
hope.
That's no concern of yours, Father. Keep sticking your nose where it doesn't belong, and it's liable to get cut off. Well, well. Seems these ruins have a little rat problem.
A front USB daughter board.
Adolf?
I don't. So there's two connectors in there. One's for USB-C and one of them's.
But since you seem incapable of following orders, you leave
Let me see if I can find the manual for it. Oh no, a rat problem. I don't need to hear anything more about rats.
I'm the rat problem.
After a plague tale.
Oh yeah.
I'm sick of rats. And know what the worst part about it is that. Okay, so Henry Clark, that is what I've like hooked into. I see that. I've used that. I have something in there already. Is that? That's. I know. I'm looking at the photo. That's like what I've plugged into. It's just one cable that plugs into that. Rats, but with fluid physics, absolutely. The worst part about it, though, is that anytime there's rats, in that game, it's like the haptics in the controller make them feel like they're inside your controller.
Really? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Back slots. Okay. So I definitely have hooked something into that C port. I'm not sure about the other one, so I'll have to. I definitely have that one that's in the C port in there, though.
Man, he's not messing around.
Oh, Chester.
Oh, I was looking at the chat.
I'm gonna kill ya.
Hey.
If it was the other way around, then that would make more sense. Because I definitely have the C in the correct spot. But I don't know if I have the. I don't remember doing the A, but the A's work, and the C's doesn't. The C doesn't. This is a Crippler's first time seeing a Ease game. Are all of them action RPG? Yes, they all are.
Yep.
And they're, excuse me, they're really fast.
Yeah.
That's kind of like their thing, is how fast they are. So they are pretty challenging at times.
Yeah, this guy ain't easy. But there's a save point right outside. And it
Yeah.
lets me retry immediately anyway.
Right. So in this case, you just need to grind a couple up.
Well,
One or
yeah.
two levels.
These games you can usually grind up pretty fast. Maybe I should.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the
consider
point. Is like
doing
things
that.
can go from being like really difficult to being manageable, like with just one level.
Yeah, I mean, his patterns seem very learnable. I mean, I'm getting him close to half down, but yeah, maybe I should consider grinding.
That all you've got?
So there should be an optional power connector for the USB-C port right above the silver connector. It uses a 6-pin GPU power cable. Power should still work even without it. Does that 6-pin plug right into my power supply? Because I could take a look. Yeah, don't forget to use your boost.
What meter is that? Oh, is that the blue?
That's the curved one.
Yeah, I must have not had it charged in the boss fight because it wasn't letting me use it. I do tend to forget about it.
Okay, so Henry, I'll
that
take
experience
a look
bar
at
is filling up
stream
pretty
tomorrow.
fast, though, isn't it?
Just ordered Ease 9 Monster Max to try out. 9 is fine. It's
It seems to
I
be the
usually recommend
least.
either this one or 8 to start with, but 9 is totally fine.
It seems to be the least popular of the more recent ones.
Yeah, but each one of them kind of have they all have like different gimmicks to them. I already remounted the USB-C connector to the board. Like I've tried that. That was like the thing that I tried most recently. Was I pulled it out, put it back.
Do you feel like Ease 9 would be a weird one to start with if you aren't familiar with 8 at all? Like, I don't know that much about it, but like I get the feeling it might be.
There's certain aspects to it that that make references to previous games in a way that it was supposed to be like a sort of like anniversary game, I guess. But it is totally fine. You'll get a good feel for what the series is like with that. But the earlier ones are not nearly as text heavy.
Yeah, and they don't have like multiple party members.
Right. Intel chipset, like the USB chipset drivers. I mean, can I look that up? I mean, I've updated the chipset drivers on for my motherboard, but maybe there's like newer Intel chipset USB chipset drivers. If I just put an Intel USB chipset drivers, can I just like download
Let's see if that one level
the
gains us
extensible
anything.
host controller driver?
I mean, sure.
Yeah, the
I mean,
version-
this version of Ease was originally
it's not Intel CPU.
a PSP
That's
thing
AMD,
after
that's right.
all. So, well, it makes sense to play it portably.
If you get it digitally, it's actually like, I think it's like $20 cheaper than the physical.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, the physical is like kind of one of those forced collector's editions, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, it does have
Already
a.
done the BIOS update.
Oh, for some reason I thought I was invincible when I did that. Apparently not.
XC, but actually the physical.
So, something I
Try
will.
was surprised. Try was surprised that the XC did this one, and I feel like you thought like, oh, I thought NIS would have done like a new translation for it.
Yeah,
And I think that they just,
thought it'd be too much work.
well, it would probably, they wouldn't be able to make it different enough without it getting in trouble.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't know if would be a thing or what. But XC did the previous versions of this game specifically and just using that same translation. So they've already done all the work.
Yeah.
It's like it's
Whoa.
an easy win for them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that with the XC translation. they all seem to follow. They all use the same terms and names and
dang
stuff.
it.
So
That all you've got?
there's no information lost. I don't think.
Something I will say, I like the 8, 9, and 10. Did they use a roll like 7 and Salsetta?
There's a jump and a dodge.
This
And a
game
block.
has the jump, and that was the like in a lot of ways I don't know, like it's hard for me to decide, like, do I like this style more or like the 7 and Salsetta style more, just in terms of what I have played, of course.
Right.
And I think that's definitely a point in the 7 and Salsetta favor, because I do like that roll much more than the jump in this. But it's
But they have, yeah, they all have like, but the flash guard and the dodge, I think, are like better. Like, I don't know if it happens in Salsetta, but like in 8 and 9, if you dodge at a at like perfect timing, it'll like slow down everything.
Mm-hmm. Which is your favorite thing ever.
I love that, yeah.
Other
Same
than
thing with
Old
the
Man
carry.
Adolf.
But that does like double damage or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll mess around with the motherboard and see if I can figure it out. But maybe it is a power thing, but I use them all the time. I want to use them all the time. The front ports, but it's been an issue. But I should open it up. I can just look underneath and see if there's any other unconnected connectors.
Ah, dang it! So close.
Might need to.
He ain't messing around.
Well, you have that one item. It looks like your shield is only a level 1. Or do you
Well,
not have another?
I stupidly upgraded the first one all the way, and then I found the second one. And it's better than the first one fully upgraded.
Oh, of course.
But I don't think I can. I don't think it's like any fast travel to town or anything, so I don't want to deal with it.
Usually you can fast travel
From the save point?
Yeah, from the pillars.
Well, I am not sure if I can. But I think I can do this guy. I'm being stubborn.
Yeah, you've been really close every time. Do you have any?
Well, not every time. But I do think I have some kind of healing item, but I have no idea like how rare it is.
I bet you can buy them in town.
I honestly don't know.
Do you have any items that like also make you?
Oh well,
like,
I can't use items
your
in the fight anyway. Like the whole section is grayed
like
out.
what's that blue thing?
I can't go over to it.
Oh, well, I mean, you could back out to the like try it again, because I bet you that gives you a little bit more HP.
Oh, you mean like temporary HP?
No, it's like permanent.
Oh, it's a permanent health upgrade?
Yeah.
Oh. Well,
Or it might be
if
like a
I
backup.
die here, I will investigate.
Yeah. I wish that Star Ocean First Departure R would get physical release.
Oh yeah.
I have the PSP game, but
Dang it.
That all you've got?
you can always retry it on an easier difficulty level.
Oh. Permanently raises max HP.
I know.
I don't know how.
And it only does it for the one fight.
Huh? Oh,
See,
really? It
yeah.
only does it for the one fight. Okay, I've got
What's the other shell?
134. Oh, it only did +3.
Yeah, but what's that other item?
Breaks after one use. Use and bow to incapacitate nearby enemies for a short time. But it's.
Oh,
But I can't even.
Yeah.
I can't even access the menu in
right.
in battle, so I don't understand.
What's that thing at the bottom there?
I think it's just a key item, story
Oh.
key item.
What does it say? It contains
How's this
power
power beyond human comprehension? I mean, you know.
How's this power beyond human comprehension? Just casually throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Found the statue. I don't know. How's this power beyond human comprehension?
All right, let's do this.
You know what? I understand that it's insulting when it says when games ask you to lower the difficulty level, but I don't know. Like as an adult who doesn't want to like spend a super long time on a boss, I am like absolutely okay with lowering it. I like it that it only does it for that one fight.
It sounds like a unique ease feature, though.
No, I mean, Yakuza does it.
Oh yeah.
You get caught in a fight. It even did it all the way back in the original. I was very surprised to find it in the original. Because it's so easy to get whatever happened to get good. It's totally optional. You can if you. I go back and forth, like, you know, if it's something that I feel like real invested in, like I wouldn't lower the difficulty in this, but if it was something where I just don't really care that much, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with that. And you don't have to accept it if you don't want to. But for the most part, when I play something, like I'm at an age where at the very least I want to try to I want to be able to make progress in any given game session if I can.
Oh, yeah, so close.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Oh,
so close.
I mean, what's funny is, you know, I was playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and if you die several times on a checkpoint, it's like, would you like to skip to the next checkpoint?
Wow.
Which is there? It's kind of nice, right?
But would you miss story?
Usually, it's just like you running from one area to another. No, not really. It basically skips you to like the next cutscene, or the next cutscene within that battle, within that mission. Yeah, see, Guillermo says, I'm 37 years old. I try on medium. If I can't do it, I change it to easy. Yeah, I no longer care about like being judged about like if I just feel like playing on narrative mode.
It's not about being judged. It's just whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
And usually I do. You know, I'm not great at games, but I still enjoy the aspect of overcoming the challenge, right?
Right.
But that's not for everyone, and that's okay.
I get that. I just feel like I've.
But I mean, you know, you got pretty into, you know, Stellar Blade, which I don't know how hard that is, but like you seemed to want that to make you try a Souls-like again.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. It really comes down to whether or not, like, I feel compelled to do it. Like, if a game is just like, oh, I just want to like see what's next already. Like, I don't want to sit here and try this boss over and over and over again. And I'm ready to like just move on. Then I will like absolutely take that option of like.
At that time, I didn't even lose that much HP when I finally did
Yeah,
it.
like once you figured it out.
You're not all talk. You actually have some skill.
The thing is, like now,
Easy on you.
based on the stuff that Adol has like been through up to this point, this guy would present no challenge. You know what I mean? Like just like not even a challenge at all.
Because 10 is before this, right? Like all that. Well, I haven't seen, but
And Celceta is better than this.
or
is
before this.
Yeah.
I actually really liked Celceta a ton, and I feel like it's like not that well loved among the E's hardcore.
Yeah, I've been really kind of wanting to replay it.
I
played through,
loved
like maybe 10% of it.
I loved
several
the feeling of like mapping out an uncharted territory.
Oh,
And I
Yeah.
thought it was longer than 7, but I also felt like it was worth its length
Brings you to such a place, my lord?
more than 7 was, because 7, like the gameplay is good in 7, but I was annoyed that you like have to like revisit like all the main dungeons to get like an orb or something toward the end of the game.
yeah.
Like the latter like third of E7 didn't really feel like it needed to exist.
So, tell me, who are
Of 7?
people?
Yeah.
The clergy
Like 7 was just like
priests.
revisiting previous areas like,
Right.
for most of the latter, like I want to say about third of the
Yep.
game.
Swordsman with the red hair is the latest adventurer to cross these lands.
Oh, an adventurer, you say? A meddlesome priest is bad enough, but
Now the question is, would Try have skipped to the next checkpoint in blinks if he could? You're making him live that portion of his life.
Man,
I mean, that's just like, I understand, like, that is something that I just like would never have done.
I would probably have been too stubborn to do so, but who could say if they dangled that in front of my face? I did finish Jack 2, by the way. I wrote my little games we played blurb
Yeah.
and have nothing nice to say.
Yeah. Did you see that I made that?
You made a document for it, yeah. You
Yeah,
moved
yeah.
my,
I have like the separate
my
things.
stuff over to to the
What
other
I
tab.
started doing on mine is I started putting games that I would like to play when I'm not, just like games like, oh, I should play that. Just like on that document, like in parentheses, so that I don't forget. You know, that's the, because sometimes I might just think of like, oh, I want to play this, and then forget about it. But that's just as a way to.
a precipice high above the lava pits. Oh, wait, this should.
I would I would like to replay through 7.
Yeah.
I was really sick when I
I'd be
played
into
through
that.
And the thing that's weird about that now, and I mean, I even thought it was weird at the time, because that was, I guess, my reintroduction to the series, because there hadn't been a game in that series released in the U.S. in a long time until 7 came out.
Yeah.
And I always thought it was weird that there's that whole thing where like Adol gets like tortured and then like it's thrown into like the
How could you?
arena.
God will never forgive this sinful
But doesn't he get like whipped and stuff for like a whole?
I
whole
don't
bunch?
really.
I just feel like that's
I don't
something you
really
never see is
remember.
like is like shirtless Adol.
I don't remember that at all. I really like just like the general look of 7 though. Like I feel just like the character models and the way they animate, like just feels very satisfying.
Dungeon.
Yeah.
Chester, you're doing well. I leave the rest in your capable hands.
But in general, you know, I don't am not bothered by lowering the difficulty level. I don't have the I don't have like so much pride that I
shall find the statue
will,
here without
you know,
fail.
keep hitting my head against it for too long, unless I really am enjoying it. Like I really want to do it. You know, sometimes there is one boss in Stellar Blade close to the end of the game that took me.
Man, there
like,
is no
several
way
hours.
at all would have survived that. Like I was
Well,
thinking I
mean,
was
you
going to
don't- you
like
don't know what he's
land
been
in some
through.
water
Maybe,
or something. But no,
Maybe he used his mana cuff to catch on something. Not that he has it anymore, but he's been through a lot worse at this point. About 9 minutes ago, there was a $2 donation from Warren Hokie.
Zone of Lava, the escapeless abyss.
You're gonna escape it though. I bet.
I bet I will.
Escaping the escapeless.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's you know, almost
Not
11
in this
o'clock,
game,
so
but-
we shall see what we do.
But Warren Hokie was wondering what Fantasy Star should a newbie play first. And I would say the first one. Play the Sega Ages game.
Yeah, I mean,
That's like a great way to start.
it's still the only one I've played, but I mean, I think it's a great game, and it's the only one that is like universally loved, I would say, outside of 4.
I think is 4 is universally loved.
Well, I know, but like the only one leading up to 4. And my understanding is that, you know, you'll get a lot more out of 4 if you've played the others, especially the first. So, yeah, I mean, I think the first is really good, and like you said, that Sega Ages version, you know, I originally played it on Virtual Console, on the Wii. I remember, like, I don't think I knew. I think it was before I knew about 240p. But I remember bringing my Wii to my parents' house and hooking up the Toshiba CRT that I have it was at their house for a long time. Like that was originally bought for college, and then like I told them, okay, I want this. You know, I don't have room for this at my place, but you're not to get rid of this. Understand? But I still like didn't understand. I know like 240p. Like I liked CRTs, but I didn't really know anything about. Ooh, what's this? Wade through shallow lava unharmed. How about that? But yeah, I you know, I liked CRTs, but I just didn't know that. I didn't understand that much at the time about why games are good on them. But I do remember like bringing my Wii to my parents' house. I think it was like Christmas time thereabouts, and I had been working on Phantasy Star, and so I was playing Phantasy Star. Oopsie. Oh, I guess it's fine. Whoa. Yikes! Holy cow! Oh, it just popped me into the beginning of the room. But yeah, I just remember playing it on that Toshiba and thinking, wow, this looks so good on this CRT. I didn't know it was because it was 240p.
Siggy here, Movita saying, you want to know a frustrating game that I actually played is Prinny, Can I Really Be the Hero? And that is I beat that one too. It is not easy.
I remember John was really urging me to get that.
Really?
Yeah, I guess.
He
was surprised I hadn't played it.
Yeah, I mean, I played the first one, and I got the collection of 1 and 2 on the Switch, which like don't look amazing, but it's a good way to play them, I guess. Like,
Oh,
they
I
have
didn't
pretty
know there
close
was a
to it.
Switch collection.
So it was only, it's like, I think it's kind of rare at this point because it was only released in this big giant box version. But when I was at a place, I don't remember where it was, but I found one that it was just the game in the Switch case without the extra BS that I had no desire to keep. I was like, I'm just gonna get this version because that's all I want. I don't want the big box.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper that way.
I mean, I don't know. Like I opened up the box. I honestly didn't even know this game was going to be in a big box. And
I mean, I always buy the bigger boxes, but even I buy the bigger boxes for like the Ease games, just like if.
But there's like other than the CD, there's like nothing that interests me that's actually inside.
But it's also not so big that it's unwieldy.
No, those Xseed boxes haven't been that bad. Because I got another one or two Xseed games, and they've been the same box. What's that? Silent Hope, is that the name of it? I played the demo and was kind of taken by it, and I bought the game, but I haven't played beyond the demo. But
yeah,
that came in like the identical box to Ys, Oath, and Felghana.
Right. There was $4.99 from Robert Hernandez. Thank you. Then happy Sunday, everyone. Have either of you tried Mike Chi's implementation of Beam emulation for the RetroTink 4K? Exciting stuff.
Yes.
I have not tried it, but
you're not really interested anyway.
What's that?
You're not really interested in black frame insertion anyway.
I mean, I'm curious to see what that looks like because it's like a rolling.
Right. So I tried. Accurate. I guess there was a new one that actually added the phosphor decay aspect. So I tried it. I tried it out on Monday actually, and it was basically what I expected, which was that at 120 hertz, I just don't think there's that much. Like it's cool on academic level, but I just don't think there's that much purpose to using it at 120 hertz. It's not really that much different from just regular black frame insertion. And I could actually, weirdly enough, catch with my eye. It was weird because I couldn't really see it if like the game was scrolling horizontally, but if the game was scrolling vertically, I was able to kind of catch this line with my eye that looks like the refresh line that a camera would see.
Oh.
But I could see it with my eyes. It was weird. And I could only see it when the screen scrolled vertically. It was very strange. But I don't think the C1 can accept. I actually didn't know until Bob. Bob released a little video today. He actually told me about it ahead of time because we did a little call earlier to talk about some other things. But I didn't know that you could do like a 240 hertz custom mode line on the RetroTink 4K. You can do 1080p 240, but I don't think any of my screens can accept 240. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. So yeah, I don't know. I don't hardly know what to do or how to try that. I believe John tried it, like probably I assume the RetroArch version because he didn't know yet that it was in the RetroTink. I assume he tried the RetroArch version on his like 480 hertz OLED monitor that he has.
Yeah.
By the way, it still gets me that the Ys and Metroid item get themes are like the same.
Yeah. I mean, like exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
But yeah, this was first. These are first.
But anyway, Yeah, I'd love to see it on a 240 hertz monitor. And I've not tried the version with the phosphor decay because I think that was like just added, and I tried it on Monday, so I don't think the version I tried was that version. I mean, keep in mind, you know, you won't be able to get 4K when doing it, but it's really neat. What I'd love to see someday is just like a box that does nothing but that. Like you just like put your, you connect your thing to it. Yeah. Potentially even your RetroTink 4K. It takes 4K in, spits, you know, 4K 240 or whatever out with the, and all that box does is just pass the signal through with added rolling black frame insertion or regular black frame insertion, or you know, maybe you have a couple of options of different types of black frame insertion, but that's all it does. Like, I think that would be the ideal application of that effect. It's just an external box, because then you could use it with anything. You wouldn't have to run the RetroTink at a lower resolution. So it you know, it'd be a win-win. But I imagine that could potentially be expensive. So for now, but maybe someday, like it's good. It's good that you know, open source information is out there now, so that people can do with it what they will, and maybe, you know, come up with different use cases, different applications, and we can hopefully someday get to a box like that. Like, I would love, I mean, the ideal thing obviously would be if it would just be adopted by TV manufacturers, but I feel like that's just a total fantasy. Like that, yeah. I mean, I feel like it's surprising enough that black frame insertion is in there as it is. I just feel like there's just no way they would actually adopt what Blurbusters put out there. That would be the dream, though. I mean, that would be the ideal situation. Yeah. You know, you wouldn't need an external box, but the reason I posit the external pass-through box that would just does nothing but add black frame insertion or the CRT scan effect, I posit that just because I don't have faith in TV manufacturers to do that. Although I don't know to what extent the guy from Blurbusters might have any sort of relationship with TV manufacturers. I mean, I assume most of that engineering is done in Japan and Korea and places like that, and I don't know to what extent they listen to or hear from, the conversations about that stuff that's happening in like the English language world, you know?
There was also $5 Canadian from D Shamrock.
Thank you.
Thank you. Saying, I got a Stream Deck for Christmas. I'm finding a great way to play the Ease games. Now I have all of them at my fingertips. And absolutely, I mean, I kind of fell in this little hole of being like, oh, can I only play games that are like approved or deck verified? And that's just like a kind of a loose thing. You know, you should always just try everything and see if it'll work.
Oh, I mean, I do this. I do the same thing with like Xbox 360 and original Xbox games. Like I'm just like, I'm not even going to like look up the list of backwards compatibility. Like, I bought a new Xbox 360 game. I'm going to put it in my Series X. Just like, hey, maybe it will install.
Maybe it will. Yeah.
Because there are games that aren't really listed on the list because they're disc-only backwards compatibility.
Right. So there is. I saw that the Land of Obscusion is saying Metroid did his jingle first, since that was 1986. Ease 1 was 1987. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the jingle in the first Metroid is different. And then it becomes more like.
Oh, I don't know if it could possibly be different on the FDS version. I've not really played that.
I'd be curious, because I feel like the NES version is different. Okay.
I think
Cheers.
Metroid 1
Openly
does
stated
that.
the Metroid jingle inspired the Ease jingle.
Wait,
Alright.
what? Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't realize at the time how close it is.
Yeah. But I feel like in the first one, it was like slightly, it's like different in the first one. But I mean, I haven't played the FDS version, so I can't comment on that. All right, so next save spot you get to.
Yeah, it looks like a boss fight's going to come up.
There's $5 for Skelva Knight saying simply Metal Gear Solid Delta? Question mark. To which I say yes, but I almost don't care at all. I have almost zero hype for it.
Yeah, but that's typical for you.
Yeah. Remake or not, I have very little interest or excitement of playing a Metal Gear Solid game with no input from Kojima.
Yeah, but I mean, it looks like it's taking that original game and just
Sure,
putting
but
on
still.
new graphics. Like, I think it's going to be pretty good. I think it's going to be pretty good. Because it seems pretty faithful.
I mean, it's just going to be I don't know. Like, it's not. I don't know. We'll see how once it's like out and see what the reaction is to it. I just know that like as it is right now, like I just don't.
Well, I will absolutely
I
get it.
barely like care right now.
So I will, just for the sake of moving things along, when it offers an easier difficulty for this fight, I will take it.
Just for the sake of moving things along.
For the stream, you know?
Yeah.
So we can find a save point again.
Yeah. It almost feels like you're not doing enough damage to him. Like something seems off.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Like, do I not understand how to use this?
Did you equip the broadsword?
I have.
You got a boost? Can you boost and does it do better?
Well, I can't right now. Doesn't really change anything, does it? The easier difficulty. I'm still doing like 1 and 0 damage.
So it's gotta be boost.
But you can only do it when it's charged.
Yeah.
Which takes a bit. I don't think they let you start a boss fight with a charge. So let's see what happens. No, it's not helping.
Yeah,
well, there's some 6s in there, but
apparently you gotta attack the butt.
oh, is that it?
Maybe. Attack that butt. Can't help it. See a butt, I gotta attack it.
I mean, it is a weird looking butt, I guess.
It's like a claw butt.
Yeah. I wouldn't want a butt like
I mean, yeah, me either.
that. Looks like it'd be uncomfortable to
Butt's the
have,
weak
you
point.
know?
Left that cheeks. It looks like a claw.
Each
Yeah, the
section
claw butt.
keeps becoming the butt, I guess, as they break off.
Claw butt.
I mean, see, here's like the problem in some ways of like accepting the easier difficulty is like I've resigned myself to it, so I'm like not even trying, really, you know?
Yeah, but if you try to retry an easier difficulty level, and it just gets easier and easier and easier until you're able to do it.
That was actually, to be honest, like a big part of actually what kind of killed Trails in the Sky for me, though.
It killed it for you?
It kind of killed it for me because it was really hard for me to like feel invested in the gameplay because I was just like, ugh, this fight's annoying. But you know, it's just going to get easier and easier if I keep failing. So like, whatever, why even try? See, like, you know, the easier difficulty stuff like can work for some people, but then like sometimes just it's such a tricky thing because like obviously like it's, you know, difficulty levels and accessibility and stuff is like good to have, but at the same time, like I do think there's a place for like just, you know, putting your foot down, saying this is what the game is, this is the difficulty that it's tuned and designed for. You can have both. But because like I do have a problem sometimes with like a good example would possibly be like the original Harvest Moon, where there's like I don't know if it's like really a glitch or what, but there's this thing where you can just go up to the hot springs. I think it's in the mountains, and you can just do that endlessly, and the night never actually ends, and that like restores your energy, so you can get done all tasks that you could want to do for the day. You could get them done. You could get them. You could just keep going to the hospital, and it was just such a drudgery to just go, well, I gotta go rest, and then you go back to the farm, go rest. It felt like if I wasn't taking advantage of that, I was playing the game wrong, but it ruined the game for me.
Oh.
So I don't know. It's a tricky thing because you don't want to say like, well, the game shouldn't offer easier difficulty levels, but I think there's a I don't know. So I mean I'm usually really stubborn about not, you know, accepting that, but I think
we can always roll it back too.
But I think choosing, well, you said it was just for the fight, right? Do I need to like?
No, it's just for the fight.
Just for the fight. Okay. But like deciding that I would accept. Like, I was already, like, not really feeling the combat in Trails in the Sky anymore. But when I was, like, accepted that I am going to accept that, it, like, made it even worse. Because I just, like, put no thought or effort into it, and I was just, like, getting through to the end, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, we're not going to keep going. I've had a long day. Sitting in the car, I'm ready to.
Yeah, we're done.
Get out of here for a little bit.
Just wanted to get rid of that thing and get to a safe point.
Yeah, get rid of that thing.
Yep, man. I'm suddenly like looking at like Adol on the HUD, and like I don't know, like I feel like his eyes are like way too wide open, like he's like looking at his inventory. He's like, oh crap, like. I forgot something, or this stuff is not.
Or he's like, I used to have so much better equipment.
Yeah. He's like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna beat this game with this garbage?
Yeah.
he got used to that in-game stuff in Ease 10. I don't know. He's just looking at it like, oh. So, Mr. Do says, Tribe will now go play FF14. You might not be wrong. I don't know. I might play a little Fantasian and then Final Fantasy 14. I've been leveling up minor in Final Fantasy 14. I've never well, I'd like done some low level gatherer jobs before, but I was like, I'm sick of having no money in this game. I'm going to level up miner.
Oh.
So that's been a fun before bed activity.
Very exciting.
Here lately. Well, it actually levels surprisingly fast.
Well, thanks everybody who donated, and everybody who hung around for the whole stream. I hope everyone has a great time next week, because I will not be here. So we'll see. I don't know what Try's going to end up playing, or who's going to join him.
I don't
I'm sure
either.
It will be fun.
We shall find out.
I'll be in the old Legoland, getting crazy with them Legos.
Getting crazy in Legoland.
Yeah. I wonder if you can drink there. I'll be curious.
No
if
clue.
you're able to drink there. I always laugh about, like, I haven't been to like a park like that since I was like a kid when my dad took me to Epcot.
Oh yeah, you've told this story before.
I love to talk about it because like
It's really
I barely
funny.
remember it, but my brother brings it up every time. Where we went to like Epcot Center and we were there for like a full day, and we spent like half the day like doing like going to the different countries, because like my dad like just wanted to pack a normal cigarettes.
Went around all
like
the
half
country.
the day, like walking around so you could like just try to find a normal pack of cigarettes.
Like they had like German cigarettes and Mexican cigarettes and.
Yep.
But he's just like,
and he's like, I just want to pack a regular cigarettes. Why can't I find? So like I barely remember that, but my brother remembers it very vividly. He's like, remember when we went to Epcot Center and Dad spent the whole day looking for regular cigarettes, just like he just wants a pack of Camels.
Oh goodness!
Funny to think about. Anyways, we'll see everybody. I'll see everybody in 2 weeks, and hope everyone has a great week. We'll see you soon.
See ya.